Chapter 1575. Menk gazed at the place where Yu Yuan had disappeared. He saw an enormous golden ripple spread out and easily extinguish the bloody laws that had seeped down from the crimson full moon. Most of the blood energy that originated from their creators had spread to nearby areas, but it wasn't as effective as it should have been. In the past, once an enemy was targeted by their creators, it was almost impossible for them to escape unscathed. The last time the demon god Qilin had invaded, it had caused a ruckus and suffered a loss before leaving the Dark Star domain. No living being in the outside world, no matter who they were, could escape unscathed if they stayed for a long time in the Dark Star domain. Not only had Yu Yuan escaped, he wasn't affected by the laws of blood or bound by any of the blood threads. The laws that their creators had comprehended and weaved in this part of the universe were completely ineffective against Yu Yuan. Therefore, they could only watch helplessly as the golden bridge that extended from the outside slowly retreated. There was nothing they could do. Whoosh! An enormous bloody figure flew out from the crimson full moon in an attempt to chase after Yu Yuan, who was gradually disappearing. The crimson full moon suddenly lit up. The bloody figure that was chasing after Qin Lai seemed to sense the will of the Yang vein's origin and was forced to stop. Slowly, the bloody figure condensed back into Enziching's form. She stood alone in the crimson void illuminated by the full moon. Her pair of demonic blood-red eyes were filled with perplexity. At the same time, the rank 9 demon gods like Menk heard the voice of their creators. The Yang vein's origin told them that from now on, if the great demon god Grek wasn't in the race, they had to listen to Enziching and be loyal to Enziching just like they were to Grek. She won your favor so easily? A young blood demon warrior looked at Enziching from afar and said discontentedly, "She's just turned from a human to a human like us. I can't accept that I have to swear loyalty to her immediately. At the very least, she needs to prove herself first." "I think so too. I think so too." 2 other blood demon experts responded to him. As for Menk, he looked at the 3 fellows who did not know the immensity of heaven and earth with a pitiful expression. He felt pity for them. Puff, puff. The 3 blood demon warriors, who originally had unlimited potential, instantly turned into 3 clouds of blood mist and quickly dissipated under Menk's eyes. There were also some who had different opinions, but they suddenly trembled in the air. They clearly realized that the one who had created the entire blood demon race would not allow them to have different opinions. If he wanted them to live, they would live. If he wanted them to die, they could only die. In the Dark Star region, under the light of the crimson full moon, that person had the power to kill them. They were not qualified to bargain at all. AI. Meng sighed faintly and tactfully took the initiative to look for Enziching, wanting to take the initiative to make a statement. Enziching floated in the starry sky with a blank expression. Her lips, which seemed to be smeared with blood, moved slightly. She looked at the place where Yu Yuan had disappeared and could vaguely sense that the dragon beheading platform was far away. She wanted to chase after it, but she heard the will of the origin of the Yang vein. She had also received an order. She needed to first stabilize her current realm in the Dark Star region. She needed to comprehend the great bloodline imprinted in her Yang spirit and temper her body a few more times. Only then would she be allowed to leave the Dark Star region and go to the starry sky to hunt the great demons of Howran. A few names had already appeared in her mind. One of the names was actually Lulu, who she was more familiar with. She and the origin of the Yang vein did not know that Lulu had officially stepped on the path to godhood in Howran. According to the origin of the Yang vein, when she walked out of the Dark Star region, the demonic phoenix would not be able to sense her location. It also told her that she had 2 choices that she had to make. She could either marry the great demon god Grek and give birth to a child, changing the entire blood demon race. Or she could find Yu Yuan and get pregnant through Yu Yuan. Between Yu Yuan and the great demon god Grek, she had to make a choice. She had to do her best to give birth to a child for the origin of the yang vein. The yang vein seemed to be more willing for her to choose Yu Yuan. This seemed to be her destiny, and also the greatest expectation the origin of the yang vein had for her. Yu Yuan returned to the dragon beheading platform. At this moment, he felt a little strange because Ziqing seemed to have suddenly chased after him from the dark red full moon. At that moment, Ziqing looked a little excited, as if she had something to say. However, halfway through the chase, Ziqing suddenly stopped, as if she had been forcibly stopped by the origin of the yang vein, not allowing her to rush out of the dark star region and get close to him so quickly. Then, he looked at the Chaos Koan, who had taken human form, and the uneasy Zhou Tsangmin. Zhou Tsangmin felt uncomfortable all over. He kept a sufficient distance from the Chaos Koan and looked as if he was facing a great enemy. Yu Yuan was a little touched since he saw the Chaos Koan. He knew that once he flew over, he would face a starry sky behemoth, but Zhou Tsangmin still came from the Qi Sun realm. Zhou Tsangmin was taking a great risk, and he had come in his true body, not just a young spirit. If Zhou Tsangmin was killed by the Chaos Koan, it would be difficult for him to come back to life. Fortunately, the Chaos Koan had been paying attention to the movements in the Dark Star region and was too lazy to argue with Zhou Tsangmin. Looking at the Chaos Koan, Yu Yuan said in surprise, "Why didn't you run?" "Why should I run?" The Chaos Koan's face was gloomy, and its eyes were fierce. "You can't kill me. You are not the one I'm afraid of. Boy, do you think you are a demon phoenix? You too." Zhou Tsangmin had a bitter face and coughed lightly. "Should we change places first? Grek is not here, and that thing, generally speaking, it will not leave the Dark Star region. What is there to be afraid of?" The Chaos Koan suddenly became tough again. Yu Yuan was stunned. "How do you know that Grek is not here? The moon is moving, and Grek has not appeared. He must not be in the Dark Star region for the time being." The Chaos Koan rolled its eyes. Obviously, it was very familiar with the Dark Star region. A group of Howran idiot. After killing their way into the Dark Star region, they strengthened it. Grek also became stronger. This unlucky starry sky beast seemed to be a little afraid of the current blood demon race's patriarch. "I didn't expect that he would become even more powerful after dying in the thousand-bird realm." The Chaos Koan gradually calmed down. He glanced at Yu Yuan with his red and white eyes. "I don't seem to be able to do anything to you now. However, you might not have the ability to do anything to me. Let's go to the Qi Sun realm." Yu Yuan smiled brightly at Zhou Tsangmin. He ignored the Chaos Koan and flew straight to the other side. After knowing the tragic situation of the Chaos Koan, he had other thoughts about this starry sky beast. His young spirit was branded with the complete true meaning of life. He needed time to comprehend it. He also had too many doubts in his heart. He believed that the Chaos Koan was also full of doubts about him. As expected, when he and Zhou Tsangmin were heading toward the Qi Sun realm, the Chaos Koan hesitated for a moment before slowly flying over. "What's going on with the Chaos Koan?" Zhou Tsangmin whispered. Along the way, this demon seed of the Red Devil School had been on tenterhook. When he was in Howran, he knew about the ferocity and ruthlessness of the Chaos Koan. He had seen the Chaos Koan slaughter. After rushing out of Howran, the Chaos Koan's strength had recovered. It was rumored that outside the thousand-bird realm, it had even massacred the elites of various races. Even if it had not reached its peak, this starry sky beast was still stronger than the Howran-like Ji Tianyu. To Zhou Tsangmin, who had just entered the carefree realm, the Chaos Koan was a fellow that he had to treat with caution. Suddenly, Zhou Tsangmin's expression became strange. He suddenly realized that not long ago, Yu Yuan had used that magical Dharma idol to fight the Chaos Koan to a draw. The Chaos Koan clearly wanted to tear Yu Yuan apart, but now it was at peace with Yu Yuan, the white-clothed Imperial advisor immediately knew that Yu Yuan's personal combat strength was actually at the same level as the Chaos Kuan. He had not obtained the deity position of Howren, but he had supreme combat strength. Zhou Tsangmin could not help but feel a little bitter in his heart. He thought of when he first met Yu Yuan. Yu Yuan's cultivation realm was not worth mentioning. He thought of the past. Thinking of Yu Yuan's miraculous rise, his successive breakthroughs, and the divine artifacts, as if attracted by a magnet, fell into Yu Yuan's hands one after another. Comparing people to people was really infuriating. Zhou Tsangmin sighed with emotion. He wanted to kill me, but after coming all the way here, he found that he couldn't kill me, so he was so angry that smoke was about to come out. With a smile, Yu Yuan didn't talk about the other secrets that were buried in the depths of the domain of darkness other than the source of the Yang Meridian. Nothing unusual happened in Vast Ho's area, right? It was then that he remembered that he had promised High Priest Reed of the Sky Demon race that he would go to the demonic abyss of calamity to meet Reed and then meet the great demon god Bertans after the meeting. When he sensed that thing beneath the Origin Blood continent was actively seeking people, he left everything behind and rushed over. Naturally, his agreement with High Priest Reed was torn to shreds. The Stellar River crossing is temporarily closed, and I can't go back before it reopens. Even if something important happens in my homeland, I won't be able to get any news, Zhou Tsangmin explained. Wait. Behind the two of them, the primal Chaos Kuan shouted in shock. Yu Yuan turned around and looked at the Chaos Kuan, asking curiously, "What are you so excited about?" Long Jie of Howren and Zhongqichen seemed to be the dragons of space and time. These two dragons were surrounded by Shura of Gojoseon, Sabonis, Diggs, and the Void Spirit. Then, a Lindok appeared out of nowhere, Diggs died, and the Void Spirit fled with serious injuries. The Chaos Kuan was here and had received the news from somewhere. Long Jie and Shura of Gojoseon are still fighting, and it seems that Shura of Gojoseon and Sabonis is in trouble. I'm afraid that he will die at Long Jie's hands. The longer his battle with Long Jie drags on, the lower his chances of winning. The Chaos Kuan shouted. Chapter 1576. In the desolate Chi Sun realm, the primal Chaos Kuan was chattering non-stop as he chased after them. He didn't transform into his giant beast form. He landed behind Yu Yuan and Zhou Tsangmin in his human form and continued, "Sabonis is dead for sure. No one can save him. That's good too. I want to see Long Jie become the strongest golden dragon. The world is chaotic enough anyway. I think it's good to let the dragon race become strong again." Yu Yuan and Zhou Tsangmin were also shocked by the primal Chaos Kuan's news. They didn't expect that the Shura of Gojoseon, Sabonis, would collude with the god of the Origin realm and try to kill Long Jie and Zhongqichen in outer space. But they didn't expect that Han Shuyuan had been on guard and arranged for Lindok, a hidden chess piece. Sabonis failed to steal a chicken and even suffered a loss. Not only did he hurt Diggs, but he also lost himself. Han Shuyuan is really astute. Lindok is a bit too strong, Yu Yuan muttered. Although the primal Chaos Kuan didn't mention Han Shuyuan, Yu Yuan, who had participated in the meeting and seen Lindok, naturally understood that with Lindok's personality, Han Shuyuan must have notified him in advance. Otherwise, Lindok wouldn't have appeared in such a timely manner. When Lindok appeared, Diggs was almost instantly killed. The Void Phantom lost one of its wings and almost couldn't escape. The strength of the Sword Sex Master made Yu Yuan feel respect. "Senior, where did you get the news?" Zhou Tsangmin asked respectfully. The primal Chaos Kuan, who had turned into an old man, snorted coldly. "I will bestow a drop of my giant beast essence amber to important people. Anyone who has fused with the giant beast essence amber I bestow will have a connection with me. And I can sense anyone who has fused with my giant beast essence amber, no matter where they are." As soon as he said this, Yu Yuan immediately looked at him with an unfriendly expression. That's right. Back then, no matter where you were, I could sense it. Even if you are in another galaxy, if I want to know your location, I can see it clearly with a little effort. The Chaos Kuan's eyes were full of pride. I guessed it. Yu Yuan also snorted. Many years ago, he had a vague feeling that he was being spied on. Sometimes he would suddenly feel uneasy. At that time, the primal Chaos Kuan must have secretly observed him through the life altar in his body, and learned about his cultivation base and the strength of his fleshly body. At this moment, the Chaos Kuan had finally confirmed that he did have such an ability and had indeed done so. Combining the Chaos Kuan's words and his own feelings, Yu Yuan realized that this star behemoth might have raised a lot of key people with the behemoth essence amber as his informants. When he needed it, he would be able to learn about what was happening in different parts of the Starry River through those who carried his giant beast essence amber. He seemed to be fighting alone, but in reality, there were also people serving him in the dark. None of the races in outer space dared to help Sabonis. Even Kadoras and Below gave up on Sabonis when they learned that he had colluded with the god of the Origin Realm. He was naturally suppressed by the Golden Dragon's great Tao. After Long Jie ascended to godhood, his chances of victory were not high. With the space dragon holding the fort, he had nowhere to run. The Chaos Kuan seemed to be gloating as he said in a strange tone, "What a fool." He even dared to resist Bertun's orders. Does he really think that he, the Shura of Gojoseon, can fight against Bertun's? Even the star behemoth's eyes were filled with obvious fear when he mentioned the great demon god Bertun's. In Bertun's eyes, other than the Titanspinosaurus of the past, no one is a true match for him. As long as he nods, as long as he wants Sabonis to die, Sabonis will not live. As for Long Jie, no matter what level he reaches, he can't threaten the great demon god Bertun's. The demonic phoenix, on the other hand, will have a headache because of Long Jie and the space dragon. The primal Chaos Kuan had been imprisoned in the vast Stardust Sea area for so many years. The demonic phoenix had cut his flesh and taken his blood. She had even tried to comprehend the true meaning of life imprinted in his beast heart. Occasionally, the demonic phoenix would chat with him. Therefore, he learned a lot of secrets about Howren from the demonic phoenix. Generations of cultivators who had trained in the Stardust Sea of Howren would tell the demonic phoenix about the major events that had happened in Howren. His knowledge of the various races in Howren might be even deeper than that of some sect elders. You're happy to see Long Jie kill the Shura of Gojoseon and Sabonis and restore the Golden Dragon to its strongest form, aren't you? You'll be happy as long as you can annoy the demonic phoenix and give it a headache, right? Yu Yuan had a strange expression on his face. Shouldn't I be happy? The Chaos Kuan's eyes were filled with monstrous hatred. If she hadn't imprisoned me in Howren, if she hadn't left me in a state of permanent injury, I would have been soaring in the stars. Yu Yuan was about to speak when a strange look appeared in his eyes. In an instant, the omnipresent Esper abilities, all kinds of flowing lights, dirty toxins, and unknown impurities rushed into Chi Sun's world from all directions. To be precise, they were rushing into the dragon beheading platform in his hand. Inside the dragon beheading platform, rich new spirit Chi was immediately produced. All the absorbed Esper abilities were cleansed and turned into pure spirit Chi as soon as they fell into it. Yu Yuan immediately knew that the baby beast in the purple-gold dragon egg had begun to eat again. As it gradually grew, it was very simple to eat now. As long as it was placed in a world with Stardust Esper abilities, it would be able to absorb all the available energy from the outside world through the dragon beheading platform. It could swallow and absorb any energy, and it could even directly refine and condense it into pure spirit Chi. This was the magical ability that the Titanspinosaurus was born with. Oh! Zhou Tsangmin exclaimed in shock. He felt the mixed energy pouring in from outside Chi Sun's world and madly flowing into the dragon beheading platform in Yu Yuan's hand. He didn't know what was going on, so he looked at it curiously as he exclaimed. The gloomy-faced Chaos Kun also looked at the dragon beheading platform with a strange look in his eyes. Almost all astral beasts could directly strengthen themselves through Stardust Esper abilities, but according to the species, the efficiency and method of absorbing Stardust Esper abilities differed greatly. The Chaos Kun knew that the dragon beheading platform was made of the cocoon of void spirits, so it might have the ability to absorb Stardust Esper abilities. However, based on his understanding of void spirits, not to mention the cocoon of void spirits, even the void spirits themselves shouldn't be able to reach the absorption efficiency of the dragon beheading platform at this moment. Therefore, the shriveled Chaos Kun suddenly appeared in front of Yu Yuan, and he even reached out to touch the dragon beheading platform. Stop! Yu Yuan's cold gaze fell on the hand that was also covered in fish scales. Thinking of the Chaos Kun he had encountered not long ago, he stopped the hand halfway and said with a grim expression, "Kid, the great fortune you obtained in the primordial blood continent will make the demonic phoenix drool. Don't run into the demonic phoenix in the near future, and don't return to Howren." Yu Yuan frowned. The demonic phoenix, according to the desolate god and the Chaos Kun's description of the demonic phoenix, he knew that the demonic phoenix played the role of the origin of the Yang bloodline in Howren. The blood of all living beings in Howren seemed to be the demonic phoenix's foundation. Perhaps it was only one of the reasons. The demonic phoenix, who was incomparably greedy for blood power and life power, should know that there were other mysteries in the depths of the primordial blood continent besides the origin of the Yang bloodline. The demonic phoenix shouldn't be able to take the secrets from the Yang bloodline and the blood demons in the dark domain. Perhaps the demonic phoenix had made attempts before, but all of them had failed. Because of that, the demonic phoenix had been quite wary of the dark domain in the later years, and was unwilling to go there herself. But if she knew that in her Yang spirit there were many profound mysteries that separated her from life with her personality. Thinking of this, Yu Yuan's eyes couldn't help but become serious. Trust me, if you meet the demonic phoenix, she will know what happened to you. The Chaos Kun glanced at Zhou Tsangmin, as if suddenly remembering that the guy in front of him was also from the 5 major forces in Howren, and said irritably, "Get away from me. You are from the Red Devil School. You are one of them." Zhou Tsangmin took a few steps back awkwardly, but he didn't go deeper into Chi Sun's realm. He had no intention of leaving. The Red Devil School is the Red Devil School, and the Goblin Temple is the Goblin Temple. It has nothing to do with each other. Also, I am a human of Howren, not a demon, Zhou Tsangmin explained. I think you are not a good thing. The Chaos Kun said angrily. The white-clothed Imperial advisor was speechless. He found that this legendary cruel and cunning astral beast seemed to be in an extremely unstable state. What did Yu Yuan do? What did he steal that made him so angry? Zhou Tsangmin had a strange look in his eyes. The demonic phoenix wants to capture me and kill you, so? The Chaos Kun hesitated. We have a common enemy. At least for now, we should think of a way to deal with the demonic phoenix. If she is alive, she will be the biggest threat to you and me, and a threat that will always be there. I know, I will be more careful. Yu Yuan nodded. He looked at the dragon beheading platform in his hand and said, "The dragon beheading platform has the power left behind by the dragon of space and time. In the vast universe outside, if I run into the demonic phoenix, I should be able to escape as long as I split the space." "No, you can't escape." The Chaos Kun shook his head. Yu Yuan was stunned. "Is she really that powerful? A real, living dragon of space and time has to be a 10th level dragon god to escape from her. You can't." Chapter 1577. The Chaos Kun had a deep understanding of the Howren demonic phoenix, and he had always been afraid of it. Since he said that Yu Yuan couldn't get rid of the demonic phoenix with the power left by the dragon of space and time inside the dragon beheading platform, then Yu Yuan probably couldn't do it. After that, Yu Yuan asked a few more questions about the demonic phoenix. However, before the Chaos Koan could finish, his expression suddenly changed, as if he had received another piece of information. The two of us caused too much of a commotion at the edge of the dark domain. The Goblin Temple must have learned that I showed up nearby. She's not coming, is she? Zhou Songmin panicked. The state preceptor didn't dare to call her a demonic phoenix like the Chaos Koan. Even though they were separated by countless galaxies, he was worried that if he said the words demonic phoenix, that person might find out. He didn't dare to provoke that person. Because the Chi Sun ferry was closed, if the demonic phoenix suddenly arrived and found him, Yu Yuan, and the Chaos Koan in the Chi Sun realm, Zhou Songmin suspected that he would be implicated or killed by the demonic phoenix. The demonic phoenix had even dared to attack Yuan Hao of the Primal Yang sect, and Taisher, one of the founders of the legendary Shenhun sect, had been seriously injured by the demonic phoenix not long ago. Considering the demonic phoenix's terrifying battle prowess and her vengeful temper, Zhou Songmin didn't think he could escape. If the demonic phoenix was really coming. It's not a demonic phoenix but a white heaven tiger. He's approaching this area from another domain. The Chaos Koan had many spies. When the majestic heaven tiger was mentioned, he rubbed his forehead with a headache. Heaven tiger is also troublesome. I haven't recovered from my injuries, and I won't be able to win against that Howran heaven tiger who controls the essence of killing. I'm just afraid that I'll be entangled by the heavenly tiger and be firmly targeted. No. I'm leaving now. Originally, he had wanted to obtain some of the truths of life from Yu Yuan. However, now that he suspected that the heavenly tiger was coming for him, and that the demonic phoenix had already noticed his primal Chaos Koan, he panicked. Before leaving, the giant beast that had turned into a withered old man asked Yu Yuan, "Where are you going?" "Let's go to the Darkwing Star region first. Then, we'll go to the Annihilation Star region's Thousand-Bird Star region to check on Taisher's injuries," Yu Yuan replied. Darkwing Star region, the territory of the Phoenix. The Chaos Koan's face stiffened, so he didn't say anything. He was afraid of being blocked by the White Tiger, so he hurriedly disappeared from the Chi Sun realm and soon disappeared. "His injuries don't seem to have recovered," Zhou Songmin said in surprise. "You don't know what happened to him. He's probably the unluckiest star behemoth." Originally, he wasn't weak among the star behemoth. He was free, but he courted death and went to the primordial blood continent. Then, he was severely injured by the Yang Meridian. Yu Yuan chuckled. He didn't tell Qin Lai that there was more to the origin of the Yang Meridian. He only said that the Chaos Koan had used the Yang Meridian to give his star behemoth blood the power to prolong the lives of all living beings. He also said that the warriors in the Starry River would do everything they could to besiege and attack the Chaos Koan when they were about to die. He also said that the reason why the Qilin could live for so long was because the demonic phoenix had drained the Chaos Koan's blood from time to time when it was imprisoned. "That's so miserable," Zhou Songmin laughed strangely. This was the first time he had learned that the demonic phoenix had come to the Chaos Koan to drain its blood from time to time when it was imprisoned. "I'll reopen the Chi Sun crossing later. You should leave as soon as possible. Otherwise, I won't be able to explain myself if the Heavenly Tiger really comes." "Yeah, I'm in a hurry to go to the Darkwing Star region. I'll make the arrangements right away." In the green fluorescent realm in the domain of Darkwing. In the depths of a forest that had been divided between the Tongtian Trading Company and the Shenhun sect, Wen Lu, who carried the Dark Spirit bloodline, was working hard with a dozen or so other medicine refiners from the Medicine God sect. Xia Nan and Yin Sweki from the Tool sect clicked their tongues in amazement as they looked up at the faint green sky and sensed the rich wood power in this realm. None of them had entered the Yang God realm. Originally, they weren't qualified to leave Howren and travel to the Starry River. They hadn't been used to this strange heaven and earth, from the Howren Grand Marsh to the domain of Darkwing through the immortal bird's nest. Unlike the spiritual chi of heaven and earth in Howren, the green fluorescent realm contained many substances that were harmful to the human body. Since Xia Nan and the other medicine refiners had been immersed in the Tao of medicine all year round, their cultivation bases and fleshly bodies weren't strong enough. The medicine refiners who dared to come here couldn't even breathe properly. They coughed violently, and some even coughed up blood. Humans were born with weak bodies, so medicine refiners paid even less attention to body refinement. They had also been spoiled by the spiritual chi of heaven and earth in Howren, and couldn't adapt to the different kinds of power in the outside world. Fortunately, Wenlu, who carried the dark spirit bloodline, had thought of this long ago. She had brewed a lot of body-strengthening medicinal concoctions, which were specially made according to the environment of the green fluorescent realm. After drinking them, Xia Nan, Yin Sweki, and the others gradually adapted to the green fluorescent realm. Xia Nan even guessed the formula from the concoctions and gave Wenlu a few suggestions, which made Wenlu's eyes light up. After that, Xia Nan and the others walked around the green fluorescent realm, looking for suitable places to plant special medicinal herbs and spirit plants, and planting different seed. Perhaps the green fluorescent realm wasn't suitable for human cultivation, but in terms of cultivating spirit plants, it was better than most realms in Howren. There were many realms like the green fluorescent realm in the Darkwing Star region. If they could develop them all and plant spirit plants, after the harvest, Xia Nan felt like she had discovered a new continent, and so she was busy all day in the green fluorescent realm, planting seeds everywhere. They were using the green fluorescent realm as a test subject. In the future, they would plant many unique medicinal herbs in Howren throughout the entire Darkwing Star region. Oh, 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 oh. Suddenly, the cry of a snow bear came from a forbidden land in the forest. The frigid snow bear, who had shrunk to about 2 meters in size, walked out of the forest and looked in the direction of the lair of death in pleasant surprise. Once again, it sensed Yu Yuan's return. Last time, Yu Yuan had only come in a hurry because he wanted to kill the Qilin. He didn't alert anyone, and he didn't have any intention of meeting with it. It was quite sad. This time, as soon as it noticed Yu Yuan's arrival, it immediately flew toward her. It immediately knew that Yu Yuan wouldn't be in such a hurry this time, and it should be able to see its child. "Why are you so happy? Is Master back?" Wenlu was familiar with it now, and she knew its emotions. She could guess a lot of its thoughts from the changes in its eyes. The snow bear nodded heavily. "Ah!" Wenlu covered her mouth and exclaimed. She didn't expect her guess to be correct. Yu Yuan had returned to the Darkwing Star region from Howren and come to the green fluorescent realm again. Whoosh! A moment later, Yu Yuan arrived with Heavenly Demon Cyan Nightmare and Feng Zhong of the Tongtian Trading Company. The snow bear whimpered as it ran over and made a hugging posture. Its eyes were filled with excitement. Yu Yuan smiled. He first summoned the dragon beheading platform and took out the snow child. Before Xue Xiong came over to hug him, he handed the child over to him. The famous violent bear seemed to forget about Yu Yuan the moment it saw the snow child. In its eyes, there was only the snow child looking at it with wide eyes in confusion. The violent bear took the snow child and hugged it to its furry chest. Its thick and long fur drowned the snow child. Wah! The snow child, which looked like an ice sculpture, suddenly started crying in its arms. Its little face kept rubbing against the bear's chest. It clearly felt the resonance of their bloodline and knew that the bear was its kin. "I'll leave this thing to you." Yu Yuan took out the repaired entrance to the cold abyss and placed it in front of the violent bear. However, the violent bear's eyes were filled with the snow child. It didn't look at the entrance to the cold abyss. Yu Yuan, the great sword immortal Ji, went to the Dark Realm as soon as his deity position was created. Feng Zhong, who had followed him, kept telling him about Howren's latest developments. She heard that Shura of Gojoseon and Sabonis couldn't return to the Dark Realm for now, so she went to study the Tao of Extreme Frost in the Dark Realm to merge it into her deity position. Tan Xiaotian, Yu Yu, Yen Qiling, and Xianli haven't come out of the realm passage. The entrances and exits on both sides are tightly sealed, and there is no longer any trace of dark light or soul energy sputtering out of them. Han Yuan can feel that the blocked passage is very calm. I don't know what happened to the four inside. Also, Tianhu seems to have received orders from Demon Phoenix to rush to the Origin Blood Continent. Feng Zhong said. Yu Yuan looked at the cold realm snow bear in shock. He found the secret of the violent bear's longevity through his transformed Yang Meridian. Chapter 1578. Inside the frigid snow bear's heart, the bloodline crystal chains that were related to lifespan were filled with rich life energy. The life energy was even purer and richer than the Chaos Koan's blood. However, the frigid snow bear's heart didn't contain a single bloodline crystal chain that contained the true meaning of life. However, the part that was related to lifespan seemed to have been strengthened by the life energy. Yu Yuan could see the wisps of life energy wrapped around a few tiny, crystal-like bloodline chains in a corner of the frigid snow bear's heart. Then, Yu Yuan tried to sense it with his young spirit. In a daze, he actually captured a memory from the mysterious item hidden deep underground on the distant primordial blood continent. This memory had something to do with the frigid snow bears. Many years ago, after Titanspinosaurus had left, a group of snow bears had arrived at the primordial blood continent before the origin of the Yang vein had been found. The snow bears, who liked places of extreme cold and could sense places of extreme cold, hadn't come for the item hidden underground on the primordial blood continent. They had sensed the most extreme coldness in the world. This group of snow bears had been absorbing extreme cold energy to transform themselves and evolve their bloodline. When their leader had passed by the dark star system by chance, it had sensed a wave of cold energy that made it tremble with unease deep underground on the primordial blood continent. As a result, the leader had brought this snow bear tribe to the Origin Blood Continent from afar to settle down. After they arrived, they went deeper into the ground and really came into contact with the extreme cold current. The weak snow bears had exploded into ice shards the moment they came into contact with the cold current. The leader of the snow bear race had barely been able to withstand the cold current. It had started to absorb the cold energy to strengthen its body. The extreme cold that enveloped the mysterious underground creature was mixed with an extremely weak aura of life. Naturally, the leader of the Snow Bear clan had refined this aura into his body along with the cold aura. Even though it was extremely weak, the leader of the Snow Bear race had benefited greatly from it. Spirit beasts that liked to live in frigid places had longer lifespans than other races to begin with. After absorbing the frigid chi of the primordial blood continent and infusing it with some life aura, the leader of the Snow Bear race had absorbed an enormous amount of Chaos Koan blood. Therefore, it could live for a very, very long time. However, the life aura it obtained was not deliberately created by the mysterious thing underground. The thing underground had always been in a state of hibernation. It was only because it was enveloped in extreme cold that some of the life aura seeped out and mixed with the cold aura and was absorbed by the snow bear. That was why the snow bear's vitality magnetic field soared. However, since the snow bear didn't have the true meaning of life inside of it, it wouldn't be able to form new bloodline crystal chains. Therefore, it would die. One day, the source of the Yang vein descended upon the Origin Blood Continent and sank into the depths of the earth. The entire Snow Bear tribe, including those weak snow bears, almost all died in an instant. Only the strongest snow bear managed to escape with serious injuries. It was the same as the Chaos Koan. In the countless years that followed, it drifted through the Arctic lands, unable to return to the dark star field or approach the origin blood continent. Even the Chaos Kuan, a star behemoth, had no choice but to retreat after the Yang bloodline had taken over the origin blood continent and raised the blood devils, let alone it. It was only an alien beast from outer space. The limit of alien beasts was only level 9. Even now, no level 10 alien beasts had been born. The blood devils created by the Yang bloodline had a great demon god soon after, so it didn't dare to dream of returning. Unlike the Chaos Kuan, it didn't have new bloodline crystal chains related to the true meaning of life in its heart. When it absorbed the cold aura and weak life aura, that thing was still in a state of hibernation. It hadn't truly favored it or given it the true meaning of life. It could only live a little longer. Since it didn't have any secrets related to the true meaning of life, it didn't have much value. Neither the Yang bloodline nor Howren's demon phoenix cared about its life or death. They wouldn't search everywhere for it. Therefore, its situation was much better than the Chaos Kuan's. I see. Yu Yuan muttered in his heart. Now that he knew the secret of this snow bear's longevity, he narrowed his eyes and took a closer look. He discovered that the bloodline crystal chains that contained the true meaning of frost were densely packed in the snow bear's heart. The mysteries hidden inside were quite extraordinary. Unfortunately, all the foreign beasts that weren't Howren seemed unable to surpass rank 10. Rank 9 was their limit. This Frost Realm snow bear was actually very miraculous. It was able to absorb cold energy from the origin blood continent, the coldest place in the world. This meant that it was extraordinary. However, because it couldn't reach rank 10 and become a rank 10 dragon god like the Frost Dragon, the secrets of extreme frost in its bloodline couldn't undergo a fundamental breakthrough and transformation. It was the rank of its bloodline that limited it. It stopped at this level and couldn't achieve anything new. It should know this, right? It knew that the Snow Bear race like it would never be able to break through the limit of its bloodline. That was why it did everything it could to create a snow child with its bloodline. Was it looking forward to the day that the snow child could reach rank 10 bloodline? Yu Yuan was thoughtful. Through the communication with the thing underground of the origin blood continent, he saw the Titanspinosaurus leave, and the memories of his first life flashed through his mind when he was in the great swamp. Extreme fire wrapped around the soul. Extreme ice wrapped around the blood. Before he and the Chaos Kuan, the Titanspinosaurus created by the blood, carried the complete truth of life and died in Howren. Deep underground in Howren, in the deepest part of the flames of the Earth's core, was the ultimate that represented the soul. The emissary Titanspinosaurus died in Howren, and its dragon body became a part of Howren. The blood and soul collided, and the humans of Howren became immortal after reaching the nascent spirit realm. As a result, Hao Kuang's demon beasts and dragons all broke through the limit of the 9th level of exotic beasts, and ascended to the 10th level. If it can break through the bloodline barrier and reach rank 10, with this thought in mind, Yu Yuan's gaze towards the frigid snow bear suddenly became strange. He also suddenly felt that a long, long time ago, he had the exact same thought. Could it be that tens of thousands of years ago, when he met the Frost Realm snow bear in his first life, he had this thought? Did he want to use the power of the Frost Realm snow bear to explore the mysteries of the primordial blood continent and surpass the extreme cold? The extreme cold between heaven and earth could freeze even the tiniest thoughts and consciousness. Therefore, what wrapped the soul of Howren's underground was the flames of the earth's core, and not the extreme cold. The extreme cold seemed to be able to subdue those related to the soul. For example, the Frost Dragon's corpse in the dragon-slaying platform had once made the Ghost Witch sect unable to raise their heads and summon their supreme nascent spirit. Yu Yu and Xianli died because the two supreme beings of the Ghost Witch sect were naturally suppressed by the Frost Dragon. The extreme cold of the primordial blood continent had obviously surpassed that of the Frost Dragon. It was the true extreme of the world. Even in his first life, He could only surpass the flames of the earth's core in the form of a pure soul, but he could not surpass the extreme cold. If he could not, then wouldn't the great demon god Bertans, who was of the same type as him, not be able to surpass it? Therefore, even if Bertans could surpass the blood demon of the sun bloodline and the same race, he could not come into contact with the underground of the primordial blood continent. The great demon god Bertans might be able to reach the underground of Hauran and surpass the flames of the earth's core. But because of the source of the Een bloodline, the demon phoenix, and the supreme beings of Hauran, it would be difficult for him. Many chaotic thoughts intertwined and collided in Yu Yuan's mind, making him think of too many things at once. Is Taisher okay? Feng Zhong, who came from Hauran, told Yu Yuan about the recent major events in detail, then looked at the heavenly demon Green Nightmare, and asked about the situation of the Thousand-Bird Realm. Hearing Taisher's name, Yu Yuan finally came back to his senses and asked, "How is he?" "He's fine, just a little depressed." The heavenly demon, who had a green face and fangs and looked like a ghost, sighed. "We lost the key item. The races that were originally looking forward to the new Hauran plan and allied with us have recently begun to doubt us and doubt our ability." Yu Yuan frowned. The most important part of the new Hauran plan was that there must be an adult Titanspinosaurus. Because the demon phoenix had seized the Titanspinosaurus cub, this plan was about to be aborted. The races that were tied to the Shunhun sect and wanted to build a new Hauran, and they themselves had a foot in it. Because the cub was not in the hands of the Shunhun sect, it was normal for them to have other thoughts. Not many people knew that there was another Titanspinosaurus inside the dragon beheading platform, and it was Yu Yuan's biggest secret. Whoosh! The entrance of the cold abyss that landed on the ground rippled with colorful light, and space power emerged. Senior apprentice brother Zhong Chichen's voice floated over from somewhere. "My good junior apprentice brother, your woman has killed her way into the dark realm. This is making things difficult for me." Chapter 1579. From his voice, Zhong Chichen seemed to be in a good mood. He was the space-time dragon. In the ancient times, he and the frost dragon had worked together to create the 7 cold abyss mouths, which contained his space-time power. Therefore, as soon as the repaired mouth of the frigid abyss left the dragon beheading platform and was placed in the green screen world, he sensed it. Because of his awakening and recovery of his power, the cold abyss mouths scattered around the extreme cold star field had all become his eyes. He could return to Hauran through any cold abyss mouths without any hindrance. He could even move between them. To him, the cold abyss mouths were interstellar crossings. They were his unique bridges. Because of his resurrection, because he was about to become a supreme, even if the cold abyss mouths exploded in the future, it was not impossible to rebuild them. To Hauran, his path to godhood was too crucial. Especially with the threat of the gate to the origin realm. The space-time dragon, sect master. While Feng Zhong and Qin Yan were still in shock, the people from the medicine god sect, like Xiaonan, were all shocked when they heard the familiar yet unfamiliar voice. The voice was the same voice, but the person seemed to no longer be a person. Their impression of Zhong Chichen was that he was calm and reserved. Most of the time, he was serious. It even made them feel that he was dull and old-fashioned at this moment, even though the voice that drifted out from the mouth of the frigid abyss was Zhong Chichen's voice that they were familiar with. That voice seemed to be extremely unruly. He actually even used Yu Yuan and Jining Shuang to ridicule them. This was simply poles apart from their impression of Zhong Chichen. Xiaonan. Zhong Chichen looked a little surprised on the other side. "It's me." Xiaonan felt a little bitter and didn't know how to answer. "Me too, LV Shuang." Qian Fei greets the sect master. "Are you alright?" "Sect master, I'm Chuan. I'm here too." Most of the people from the medicine god sect were only Een spirit alchemists. They nodded and bowed to the cold abyss mouths with complicated feelings. No matter what others said, Zhong Chichen was still the sect master of the medicine god sect in name. They heard it clearly. It was indeed Zhong Chichen's voice. The moment they heard the voice, the suspicions in everyone's hearts suddenly disappeared. Their sect master was indeed still the same sect master, but perhaps he really had been the space-time dragon in the past. Otherwise, how could his tone have been able to completely topple their understanding of the world? On the other side, Zhong Chichen was silent when he realized that Xia Nan and many other sect alchemists were actually replying to him after he ridiculed them. He obviously knew that Xia Nan and the others were not strong enough to leave Howren. However, the mouth of the frigid abyss was clearly not in Howren Yuyuan. Where did you take them? Don't you know that none of them are good at fighting and don't have the ability to move around in the starry skies? Zhong Chichen said in a low voice. Yuyuan was stunned and suddenly became confused. The Zhong Chichen in his memory seemed to have returned at this moment. That voice was so serious that it made him feel as if he was looking at his stern senior brother reprimanding him. But didn't you already wake up? If you're the space-time dragon, why would you care about the alchemists of the medicine god sect? That shouldn't be the case. Yuyuan wasn't the only one who found this strange. Heavenly Demon Cyan Nightmare, who had joined the Shenhun sect, and Feng Zhong of the Tongtian Trading Company all had strange looks in their eyes. Those people all looked at him with pleading eyes, asking him what was going on with their eyes. Sect Master Zhong, the former sect master, invited us to the Dark Wing domain. We're in a place called the Green Screen Realm. This place is rich in wood essence and very suitable for growing medicinal plants. The alchemist named Lu Shuang bowed his head and explained respectfully to the mouth of the frigid abyss. His words and expression were actually full of sincere respect. It seemed that he had a good impression of Zhong Chichen and acknowledged him from the bottom of his heart. Before I step down, I'm still the sect master of the medicine god sect. Zhong Chichen's voice sounded somewhat exasperated from the mouth of the frigid abyss. He had been calling out to Yuyuan just a moment ago, but now he was calling out to Hanch. He no longer called him his junior martial brother. How dare you make such a scene? The great path of medicine refinement in the outside world is incomplete. They can't even form pills. What's the point of them going out there? The great path of medicine refinement in the Thousand Birds realm has been completed because of Taisher, Yuyuan said, feeling more and more confused. Also, they only grow spirit plants in the Green Screen realm. I want to see if those Howren medicinal plants can survive in the Green Screen realm. I don't agree, Zhong Chichen exclaimed. Xianan, the alchemists of the medicine god sect, Yin Sweki and Wen Lu, who had temporarily betrayed the Tool sect, looked at the mouth of the frigid abyss on the ground and didn't know what to do. What was going on? Who should the medicine god sect listen to? Why did Zhong Chichen still want to be the sect master of the medicine god sect after awakening his memories as the space-time dragon? Whether you agree or not, the result is like this. Also, she went to the Dark Realm to comprehend the great path of frost to win a new deity position for Howren as soon as possible. The Dark Realm only contains the laws of darkness and frost. It doesn't have long jia, and it doesn't have what you need. Yuyuan's tone was calm. He didn't show any emotion because of Zhong Chichen's shout. Also, I don't think you can do anything to her in the Dark Realm. Oh, let me remind you, she's from the Sword Sect. And the Sword Sect has a guy called Lindok. I think you know how Li Sha of the Moonlight People died? The people around the mouth of the frigid abyss suddenly fell silent when they heard the disciples of the same sect bickering. Don't interfere in the matters of the medicine god sect, Zhong Chichen said angrily. Whoosh! The frigid snow bear, who had been standing for a long time, reached out and covered the mouth of the frigid abyss. A crackling cold storm formed in his furry paw and cut off Zhong Chichen's shouting. It was obvious that the bear seemed to think Zhongqichen was too noisy and disturbed its snow child. That jade-like snow child, at this moment, seemed to have already fallen asleep on its chest. You! The bear barked at Yu Yuan a few times. The general idea was that it would choose a new star zone of extreme cold and place the mouth of the frigid abyss there. It also said that it would take care of the snow child and protect it as it grew up. When it was done, it would go find Yu Yuan again. Holding the mouth of the frigid abyss in its paw, it rose from the ground and condensed into a ray of icy light that shot into the sky. After breaking through the boundary of the green fluorescent world, it directly entered the galaxy. After it disappeared, Yu Yuan felt a little lost in his heart. However, he quickly calmed down. Then, he wondered why his senior brother still cared so much about the medicine god sect even though he had completely woken up. He still wanted to control Xiaonan and the other alchemists. Also, after senior brother and Long Jie dealt with Sabonis, did they want to do something in the Dark Realm? Green Nightmare, is Her Majesty all right in the Dark Spirit Race's Holy Land? Feng Zhong went to ask the Tongtian Trading Company a question that was more important. Her Majesty is fine. She has already refined the Qilin's flesh and blood. However, she doesn't seem to be in the Dark Spirit Race's Holy Land. After Taisher was seriously injured and returned to the Thousand-Bird Realm, she arranged for Brizette to come and greet him. Brizette said that she was fine, but she didn't say where she was. When Green Nightmare answered, he looked at Yu Yuan as if he had something else to say. However, many people present had nothing to do with the Shunhun sect, so he felt that it was inconvenient. A little later, Yu Yuan nodded to show that he understood. Because he knew that Taisher was fine, he wasn't in a hurry to leave immediately. He first discussed medicine with Xiaonan, Wenlu, and the others, and stayed in the green light realm for a while. During this time, he thought about a lot of things. If Jining Shuang left the Dark Realm and wanted to pursue the ultimate Tao of extreme frost, the underground of the Origin Blood Continent would be the best choice. Unfortunately, the Yang bloodline and the Blood Demon race were guarding in Ziqing, whose situation was unknown, so he couldn't go there for the time being. In addition, if the frigid snow bear could break through the bloodline limit of mutated beasts and reach level 10, having the combat strength and level of Howran Demon God, what kind of magic would appear in its bloodline? Yu Yuan vaguely felt that if he broke through the realm for the violent bear, a miracle would happen. After staying for a few more days, he also met with a few elders of the winged race. Then, when Green Nightmare urged him, he went from the Death Lair, which had the effect of the Star River Ferry, to the Thousand-Bird Realm of the Annihilation Star Field. However, when the teleportation of the Death Lair ended, he appeared in a completely unfamiliar place, not the Thousand-Bird Realm. In an unknown place where the stars were dim, he and Green Nightmare were the only two standing on a dilapidated land. Collapsed giant palaces and weathered corpses of various races entered his sight. He also found that he and Green Nightmare had walked out of the same rock wall. The traces and auras of fierce battles filled every corner of this place. The corpses of almost all intelligent races he knew of were there. The people and great demons of Howran had left behind too many corpses, including many in the Carefree Realm. There were even supreme nascent divinity realm experts. Like the Dark Forest Starfield, there was an even larger alien battlefield. It was a dangerous place where countless experts and great demons had been killed like a meat grinder. What do you mean? Yu Yuan frowned. Back then, Taisher had taken the demon god-level Green Nightmare away from the Forbidden Land of Fallen Moon. When he first came to the Forbidden Land, Green Nightmare had been a headache. But now, facing a demon god-level Green Nightmare, he should be afraid of Green Nightmare. Don't misunderstand. I brought you here with Lord Taisher's permission. Also, Her Majesty knows. Otherwise, the lair wouldn't cooperate with me. Seeing Qin Lai's unfriendly expression, Green Nightmare hurriedly explained, We just don't want the Chamber of Commerce and the others of Green Light Realm to know. That's why we said we brought you back from the Thousand Bird Realm. What are we doing here? Yu Yuan's expression eased slightly. Since Green Nightmare said so, and said that both Taisher and Chen Qinghuang knew, he believed there should be no problem. The one you have an agreement with wants to see you here, Green Nightmare said. Yu Yuan's heart trembled. It was the great demon god Bertans. Chapter 1580. Green Nightmare, a member of the heavenly devil race from another realm, seemed to tremble when he mentioned the great demon god Bertans. He had suffered a great loss in Hauran and been suppressed in the forbidden land of the fallen moon for many years. Later, Taisher had returned to the outside world with the giant bronze coffin. He had chosen to follow Taisher and become a member of the Shunhun sect, which was tantamount to abandoning the heavenly devil race. And now, he was the one who had brought Yu Yuan here to meet the great demon god Bertans, thinking that the invincible old patriarch might be watching him on this ruined battlefield. Green Nightmare felt unbearably ashamed. Chills ran down his spine. I don't have permission to stay here, so, after letting out a faint sigh, Green Nightmare turned around and walked back to the stone wall behind it. A giant, greenish-black demonic flower suddenly appeared on the smooth, mirror-like stone wall. Its petals rippled with the power of space. As soon as Qing Fu entered the flower bud, the greenish-black demonic flower that had quietly appeared suddenly vanished. After he left, the entire world fell into a dead silence. The numerous collapsed palaces and weathered skeletons seemed to be telling Yu Yuan how fierce the war that had taken place in this place many years ago had been. Strange, Yu Yuan murmured. He suddenly felt that he had been to this ancient alien battlefield more than once. Memories that had been sealed for a long time came alive in his mind. To his left, there was a warrior of the giant spirit clan whose head had been smashed. He was more than 30 meters tall and wore shiny silver armor. He was sitting on a pile of rocks. He glanced at him. The image of the giant spirit clan warrior's head being smashed by an iron hammer appeared in his mind. In front of him, there were 6 or 7 silver scale warriors whose bodies were broken and scattered on the ground. In his mind, another memory message flashed past. It seemed that he had exploded a ball of spiritual light in the middle of the silver scale warriors tens of thousands of years ago, blowing them to pieces instantly. 100 meters behind him, there was an old man of the star race wearing a robe with a star pattern under the dust. There was a hole between his eyebrows that went straight to his brain. It was as if his gaze had condensed into a soul blade that pierced through his mind. Beside the corpse of the old man from the star race, there was a platinum azura. It seemed that when he was running for his life, a sharp blade had cut through his natural armor and crushed his heart. In addition, looking around, Yu Yuan saw that most of the powerful outsider warriors had been killed by him, and realized that he was the one who had killed most of them. He had relevant memories in his mind. This ancient battlefield seems to be the place where I first made a name for myself in the Starry River. Yu Yuan rubbed his chin and muttered to himself, "It seems that this is where the powerful outsider experts first learned about me." Suddenly, an incomparably strange scene took place. The giant spirit clan warrior, whose head had exploded, stood up from a sitting position as if he had come back to life in an instant. The old man of the star race, who had been dead for tens of thousands of years, shook off the dust on his robe. A faint smile even appeared on his mummified face. The silver scale clansmen with incomplete corpses seemed to have been pieced together at the last minute. They helped each other to their feet. The Hauran great demons, who no longer had any flesh power and whose bones creaked when they moved, also slowly stood up. Dense spider webs could be seen in their empty eye socket. Further away, the corpses of the weak crypt race, fire lizard race, winged race, dark spirit race, and humans seemed to have gained sentience in an instant. Whoosh! Yu Yuan gently flew up and floated in midair above the ancient battlefield, looking in all directions. The tens of thousands of dead members of various races seemed to have come back to life, as if they had been possessed by spirits and refined into devil bodies. In the next moment, countless voices came from their mouth. The members of different races conversed in their own language. Their tongueless, fleshless mouths made strange sounds that made one's hair stand on end. Yu Yuan's expression was grave as he looked at the ghostly scene in front of him. He felt as if he had been pulled back to a long time ago. In the past, people of different races had lived here. This used to be a world where all races traded. People of different races came from the fairies of stars and took out the specialties of their star domains in search of rare treasures that could help their bloodlines evolve. They were happily haggling over the price, discussing the strange stories and secrets of the starry sky, and talking about the recent weather and storms. Suddenly, one day, a nightmare came. Human cultivators and the demon army of the Howren had found this place. They descended from the sky, and a fierce battle immediately broke out. Yu Yuan saw that the dead human cultivators were already engaged in a fierce battle against the outsider warriors in this heaven and earth. Their bodies were grayish-brown, and they looked like they could fall apart at any moment. Their stiff and comical movements made them look like they would fall apart at any moment. The humans were speaking in their own language, the demons were roaring, and the foreign warriors of different races were shouting. The history of the past was replayed in such a horrifying way after tens of thousands of years. It was as if a group of ghosts had returned to the world. Yu Yuan was silent. He realized that the great demon god Bertans had descended. He had split into tens of thousands of devil souls and possessed the bodies of the dead members of various races. They were replaying the past for him. The tens of thousands of foreign races seemed to have their own independent selves. They had different souls. These corpses were saying different things and doing different things. At this moment, Yu Yuan suddenly had a feeling that if the great demon god Bertans was willing to participate, he could turn the situation around with his own power. The great demon god could possess the bodies of tens of thousands of beings who were fighting fiercely. He could take over their bodies and control them directly, or use his mind power to influence them. Perhaps he could also influence the battles that were happening in other places at the same time. The Sun God, the human cultivators in the Freedom State, the Level 8 and Level 9 monsters, the Great Demon God, the Platinum Shura, the warriors of the Star Clan like Beirut, and the elites of various races, none of them could escape from the soul corrosion of Bertans. Even the supreme primordial spirits might not be able to escape. The races in the outer space were killing each other, and the bloody war between the other races and the Howren. If he really wanted to interfere, wouldn't he be able to change the result at will? He should have the ability to control all the battles that he knew with his own power. If so, how could the human race and the demon race of the Howren dominate the outer space? Thinking about this, Yu Yuan suddenly felt a little depressed. From some small details, he realized how terrifying the great demon god Bertans was. He felt that the great demon god didn't need any help to overturn everything in the Howren. The feeling that Bertans gave him could be summed up in one word: omniscient, omnipresent, and omnipotent. Since there was such a Bertans outside the Howren, then Yu Yuan felt a little bitter. He clearly realized that the great demon god Bertans was the reason why the Howren could have its current status. In fact, the great demon god Bertans had been watching on the sidelines. He was indulging the rise of the Howren. Why? With this thought in mind, Yu Yuan saw a tall old man with a dense and luxuriant red beard that almost covered most of his face in the alien battlefield where the war between different races was still going on. The old man's red beard was not natural. From afar, it looked like a burning fire. His eyes were also red, as if he had stayed up too late, so they were full of red streak. However, his spirit was extremely good, giving people a feeling that he was brimming with vigor and boundless vitality. Shao Qi, welcome back again. His voice was kind and gentle, but full of power. It seemed as if nothing in the heavens and the earth, and all the living beings in the universe were capable of shaking his heart or causing him to feel terror. Because he was Bertans. His call of Shao-Chi shocked Yu Yuan. He rubbed his eyes subconsciously and stared at him with his eyes wide open. Yu Yuan was speechless and stammered. His master, who was very vague in his memory, appeared in the alien battlefield after so many years, standing in front of him and looking at him with a smile. But shouldn't it be the great demon god Bertans who agreed to meet him in the alien battlefield? Was his master's body possessed by Bertans, or refined into a demon body? His eyes suddenly became gloomy. Don't make too many guesses. If you have any questions or doubts, you can ask me directly. The tall, red-bearded old man looked at Yu Yuan in front of him with an appreciative and gratified look in his eyes. Suddenly, he said in a soft voice, "Not only Hong-Chi, I was also your guide during your first life. The secret method of soul you learned, the soul sea you could enter under the Howren, and the apotheosized you could succeed, all because I was your master." Hearing this, Yu Yuan was completely dumbfounded. In his first life, when he was the Lunar King, the great demon god Bertans was also his guide? How was that possible? "You want to enter the soul sea under the Howren through me, so?" Yu Yuan shouted. "Through you?" The great demonic god Bertans shook his head and burst into laughter. "Silly boy, it's because of me that you can enter the soul sea. I, Bertans, am the first to be favored by it. You are only the second. As for why I let the Howren go, haha." He looked at Yu Yuan with a smile and said, "What is the most important thing for a human in Howren to break through the limit and become a supreme god?" Yu Yuan looked confused. "The transformation of the main soul into the primordial spirit? Who am I? Which clan of the extraterrestrial demons am I in?" "The leader of the extraterrestrial demons, the leader of the primordial demons. Gods and demons are only one word apart. Do you really think there is a fundamental difference?" Bertans asked. Yu Yuan was shocked. "I was the one who told you how to break through the limit and ascend to the supreme primordial spirit, and then you told others. In the boundless universe, apart from the star behemoths, only the extraterrestrial demons and the primordial spirits of the human race can live forever. The moment a human's main soul transforms into a primordial spirit and obtains eternal life, it becomes one of my kind. The so-called primordial spirit is the primordial demon. Every time a supreme human in Howren is born and his main soul transforms into a primordial spirit, there is a new member of the primordial demon race. Tell me, why should I suppress my own people?" Chapter 1581. When the supreme experts of the human race transformed their main souls into nascent divinities, they would become primordial devils. They were Bertans' kind. No one had ever told Yu Yuan that the supreme experts of the human race from Howren, who had dominated the outer realms of the Starry River, had become members of the heavenly devils of the outer realms. And they were primordial devils of the same origin as Bertans. Yu Yuan's face was filled with disbelief. The Shenhun sect's many exquisite soul spells revolve around souls. Isn't that what we heavenly devils are good at? In the forbidden land of the fallen moons, the Shenhun sect created the heaven-sealing soul dissolving formation was able to make the devils suffer because of you. It's because you've been enlightened by my soul magics that you and the Divine Soul sect have a better understanding of souls than others. Bertans smiled meaningfully. Almost no one in this world could detect this, because when I gave you pointers back then, you didn't even know who I was. In the beginning, you only saw a soul sea, and that soul sea was formed by me. But when you tried to comprehend the true meaning of souls from that sea of souls, you didn't know that it wasn't the real sea of souls. When you broke through to the supreme nascent divinity realm, you and that fledgling phoenix first joined forces with the ghost shaman sect and then other peak experts of the human race to beat the dragons down from their pedestal. Many years later, you were lucky enough to come into contact with the real sea of souls. At that time, you sensed the difference and began to suspect something. While the great demon god Bertans was talking with a smile, the battle between the clansmen and the great demon beasts was still going on. Tens of thousands of dead foreign warriors, powerful demons that had long since become skeletons, and human skeletons were still fighting. In fact, it was just a clash between his demonic will and his demonic will. He seemed to be bored, and was looking for fun with the skeletons on this deathly silent battlefield. You've been here more than once. The last time I met you, I took the initiative to tell you the whole story. It was also here. Bertans sighed. At that time, you were already a famous dragon slayer in the galaxy. You were the lunar divine king of the Shenhun sect. You had many achievements in the outer galaxy. You even teamed up with that young phoenix and the supreme masters of the Shenhun sect and the sword sect to fight with me several times. At that time, you were hailed as the Howran upstart who could threaten me the most. The great demonic god chuckled and said in a slightly helpless manner, if I hadn't sensed that the god of the origin realm was about to step out of the abyss, and if I didn't need the strength of you and the dragon-slaying platform, I wouldn't have been willing to open my heart to you and tell you the truth about Howran. Yu Yuan remained silent for a long time, and then he suddenly said, You only told me the truth after we heavily injured the god of origin world? That's why you're telling me that the soul sea I first came in contact with is actually you? That's right. The tall, red-bearded old man nodded and said seriously, I didn't tell you the truth because I was afraid that you would betray me and not trust me. I was afraid that you would stab me in the back. But I miscalculated. After you learned the truth, you chose to trust me and went to the abyss door with me. We almost killed the god of the origin realm when he just emerged, and it took him tens of thousands of years to recover. But our interactions, our overly intimate interactions, were still discovered by others. That young phoenix of Howran and Han Shuyuan believed that I had bewitched you and lured you into joining the heavenly devil race. Of course, many of your methods and strategies during that time were extreme. You're just like me. He told Yu Yuan that the demon phoenix and Han Shuyuan were working together to kill the Shenhun sect. One of the biggest reasons was that the demon phoenix and Han Shuyuan suspected that Yu Yuan had been convinced by him, and that he had secretly taken over his mind and become his loyal follower. Young phoenix. Yu Yuan was astonished. Oh, I forgot to explain the origin to you. The great demon god Bertans stroked his thick beard. His bloodshot eyes suddenly became incomparably deep. That Titanspinosaurus was the first to receive the favor of the origin blood from the depths of the origin blood continent. It was created by the origin blood and branded with the complete truths of life. It represented the origin blood and was an extension of the origin blood's will. It became the strongest ruler of the universe and was invincible. Pausing, the great demon god blinked and looked at Yu Yuan's chest. I think you know about it too, don't you? Yu Yuan nodded silently. He didn't expect that the thing shrouded in extreme cold in the depths of the origin blood continent was called the origin blood. The origin of blood. I wasn't as lucky as it was. I was much slower than it was before I came into contact with the origin soul in Howran. Although the prime devil race was originally from Howran, and Howran was our birthplace. But when I sensed the existence of the origin soul and tried to approach it, the Titanspinosaurus had already become the one and only ruler. The great demon god sighed. What? The prime devil race was originally a native of Howran? Yu Yuan was shocked. What's so strange about that? Bertans narrowed his eyes and smiled. Back in Howran, there was a miraculous origin soul at the heart of the earth. Isn't it natural that the prime devil race was born there? Apart from us, there are many other strange beasts living in Howran. The young phoenix I mentioned back then, the great demon god pondered for half a second. Then, he waved his hand casually. A purple phoenix appeared at the tip of his finger. A purple phoenix with cold eyes and a hint of arrogance and narcissism rested on the branch of a huge tree. At that time, the demonic phoenix didn't have the extraordinary demeanor of someone who was above all living beings. Not only did it not look majestic, but it also looked a little ugly and crooked. Looking at the demonic phoenix that the great demon god had pointed out, Yu Yuan had a strange feeling that he was looking at Yushu when she had just transformed into a human and turned into a dark, skinny, and ugly girl. He couldn't help but wonder if this was also the reason why the demonic phoenix favored Yushu so much. After Yushu transformed, she was as ugly as she was when she was young. Did she look particularly close to her? Did the demonic phoenix feel like she was looking at herself when she looked at Yushu back then? Also, the demonic phoenix saw the undying bird as her mortal enemy. She would do everything in her power to get rid of anything that had anything to do with the undying bird, such as the Peacock King, ever since he knew the Empress. No matter if Chun Qinghuang was in human form or in the undying bird form, she was so beautiful, so peerless, and so extraordinary. She was the polar opposite of the demonic phoenix. Perhaps the demonic phoenix had been jealous of the undying bird's beauty since the first time she saw it. The more Yu Yuan thought about it, the stranger his expression became. Beside him, Bertans coughed and said, "It's not unreasonable for you to think that way. To be honest, you and I have the same thought. I also think that the young phoenix was jealous of the undying bird's beauty. Therefore, after she tried to get rid of the undying bird, she secretly adjusted and changed her attitude towards the undying bird." Yu Yuan was stunned. Bertans could listen to his thoughts, know what he was thinking, and even agree with his evil thoughts. "All right, let's get back to business." The great demon god, who had peeked into his thoughts, did not feel embarrassed at all. He skillfully changed the topic and said, "The battle of the giant star beasts has caused too much damage to the entire world. Too many star regions have been reduced to dead regions. And I, after receiving the favor of the Source Soul, was determined to get rid of the giant star beasts and end their era of dominating the galaxy. Just like you, when you joined forces with the young phoenix to kill the golden dragon and overthrow the dragon race from Howran. It was I who lured many giant star beasts, including the undying bird, to join forces to kill the Titanspinosaurus in the boundless sea of stars. It was I who made the giant star beasts gather and attack the Titanspinosaurus. When it was seriously injured, I took the initiative to reveal the fact that everything was caused by me. It was furious, and under my guidance it went straight to Howran. Howran is my homeland. I am strong because of the Source Soul underground. Of course, the battlefield I chose was Howran, where the Source Soul was. The Titanspinosaurus, who was already seriously injured, finally found its way here. Then, I took advantage of the time and place to kill it. It was I, Bertans, who caused the death of the Titanspinosaurus and the end of the era of the giant star beasts. Before it died, it had a conversation with me. For the first time, it talked to me about the abyss. After it finished speaking, the complete truths of life hidden in its heart, obtained from the source blood, was detonated and turned into ashes in Howran. Before it died, it destroyed all the truths of life that it had branded in its origin blood, and gave birth to some kind of miracle. That is a miracle that I cannot understand even now. Its blood spilled all over Howran and died. The drops of essence blood in its heart contained the bloodline essences it had obtained from other giant beasts. These laws and mysteries were stored in the essence blood in the form of bloodline crystal chains. Most of the essence blood was scattered in Howran's mountains, lakes, glaciers, poisonous swamps, seas, and flames. Many years later, they became baby dragons. The dragon blood that wasn't in the dragon's heart and didn't contain any bloodline essences was consumed by the native beasts of Howran after it was spilled. Although this part of the dragon blood wasn't its essence blood and couldn't form a dragon, after it was consumed by the beasts, the beast's spirituality sublimated and their potential reached a breakthrough. Therefore, the beasts that consumed the dragon blood became the unique beasts of Hauran. It also gave the beasts of Hauran the chance to break through the 10th level and become demon gods in the future. As for the human race, Bertun's expression was solemn. There was still a part of its dragon blood that hadn't been found by the beasts of Hauran. It was hidden deep in the earth, and seemed to have been triggered by the aura of the Source Soul, which ignited its soul fire. The human race was born because of this. Therefore we, the prime devils and the beasts, are the natives of Hauran. The dragons that were born directly because of it, and you humans, are the so-called outsiders. The world only knows that it created the titans and the dragons, but they don't know that the human race was born because of it. Therefore, in the ancient times of Hauran, the emperors of the human race called themselves the true dragon son of heaven. When the dragons ruled Hauran, the royals of the human empires would be bestowed with dragon blood by the dragons. Because dragons are formed from their blood essence, there are naturally bloodline crystal chains in their hearts, and that's why they're so special and powerful. Although the human race was born from its blood and can be considered its descendants, their hearts don't have bloodline crystal chains that are naturally imprinted with the profound truths of the Tao. Although the human race is weak, they are its true descendants. That's why Long Jie can easily impregnate human women and give birth to many beasts like Long Tianshao. The beasts weren't weak to begin with. After consuming the dragon blood, they became even stronger and were able to fight against the dragons. But the current great demons only mutated because the original beasts consumed its dragon blood. They weren't created by it. When the Spinosaurus died, its blood contained rich life power because of the self-detonation of the complete essence of life. After the foreign race consumed its blood, they could be said to have some of its blood mixed with it. You can also call it its messy descendants with a thin bloodline. The fledgling phoenix was an anomaly. She couldn't obtain a drop of Titanspinosaurus dragon blood, but she managed to comprehend the essence of blood energy. To this day, she is the only anomaly among the Hauran beasts. She can still be called an anomaly, not a demon beast, because after she failed to obtain the dragon's blood at the beginning, she instead opened up another path. Chapter 1582. When the great demon god Bertuns talked about Hauran's demon phoenix, although he kept calling her a young phoenix, his tone was full of approval and admiration. As the publicly acknowledged #1 expert in the boundless starry sky, Yu Yuan was rather surprised that he thought so highly of the demonic phoenix. What was even more unexpected was that the supreme Titanspinosaurus was killed by the great demon god Bertuns. Even if Bertuns had used the method he was good at to lure the other giant star beasts to attack and seriously injure the Titanspinosaurus, however, thinking that he had only been in contact with the origin soul for a short time, Yu Yuan was still in awe of his power. The young phoenix is extraordinary. Even if I don't like her, I recognize her amazing achievement. Clang. Boom boom boom. The elites of the various races, the dead demons, and the corpses of the human race all fell to the ground after he said this. Dust and bone fragments flew into the air on the desolate and broken battlefield. It was as if a sandstorm of different sizes had appeared on the ground. No matter how strong a Platinum Azura or a level 9 Demon King was, after tens of thousands of years, their skeletons had been eroded by the power of time. When it crashed to the ground, many of its 10-meter-long joints exploded into powder on the spot. Yu Yuan also saw that the old star race man with a hole in his forehead turned into a cloud of smoke the moment he fell to the ground. It seemed that the dead could move freely because of the great demon god Bertun's exquisite control. The battlefield looked fierce, and it looked like tens of thousands of experts were fighting, but in reality, there was no fatal contact. Bertun's devil soul had perfect control over these puppets. As he spoke, tens of thousands of devil wills controlled tens of thousands of corpses. After a dazzling battle, none of the corpses exploded, and none of the dead were injured. Instead, when they fell to the ground, he felt bored. Many of the weathered corpses turned to dust. What he had done just now, along with the tens of thousands of demonic wills, was probably just a part of his countless powerful demonic souls. It was just one of his many devil souls. Because I came into contact with the origin soul, I received its care and favor, which allowed me to comprehend the true essence of the soul and achieve what I have today. It was also me who elevated the entire celestial fiend race. I, Beltans, was the first to break through to the great demon god realm, and the first to understand the mystery of the eternal soul through the origin soul. Apart from the primordial devil clan that was born in vast sea, the heavenly devil clans scattered in other parts of the outer world, who also live in the form of pure souls like us, were also able to evolve into great demon gods under my guidance. They can live eternally in the form of great demon gods. In this regard, I am selfless. Because I was the one who elevated the entire heavenly demon race, the many heavenly demon branches have always viewed me and the Hauran prime demon race as leaders. Because the great demonic god Grek was created in the origin blood and has the support of the Yang Meridian, he might be a little disloyal. Beltans smiled carelessly. Actually, Grek can't change anything. The older generation of the heart demon race, shadow demon race, extreme cold heavenly devils, polar heavenly devils, and blue heavenly devils all know the reason. I have always had absolute control over the entire heavenly devil clan. Without me, they wouldn't have been able to break through to the great demon god realm and live eternally in the form of a great demon god. As for that young phoenix, you can think of her as me among the beasts. The great demon god's red eyes became somewhat serious. As a beast, she achieved 2 unparalleled achievements without obtaining the dragon blood of the Titanspinosaurus and ascending to a higher level of existence. First, as a beast and not a star behemoth, she improved her bloodline from rank 9 to rank 10. Before her, no beast had ever been able to do so. Second, she comprehended a secret of eternal life imprinted in the Chaos Kuan's body by the origin blood. Because of this, she obtained eternal life and infinite life. Belton's expression was filled with emotion. Yu Yuan was filled with deep respect. He didn't expect the demon phoenix of Hauran to be so outstanding. As a beast, she had achieved unprecedented achievements just like the great demon god Beltans. The ancient demons of Hauran were able to break through to rank 10 and become demon gods. One reason was because they had absorbed the blood of the Titanspinosaurus, and the other was because of her guidance. Before I left, she had done a lot of great things in the Hauran Great World and achieved great things. Unfortunately, after she had truly comprehended the wonders of blood power and improved her bloodline to rank 10, the dragon race formed by the Titanspinosaurus blood appeared unstoppably. Not long after she had broken through to rank 10, and before she could react, the dragon race had formed more than one dragon god. After all, they were extraordinary beings born directly from the Titanspinosaurus blood. Their hearts had naturally formed bloodline crystal chains, and I wasn't around, Beltans said with a sigh. Why weren't you in Hauran after the death of the Titanspinosaurus? Yu Yuan asked curiously. That's the Titanspinosaurus we're talking about. Do you really think it was as easy as I said it was for me to kill it? Belton's already red face turned even redder. He was a little embarrassed and tried to explain himself. I had been blessed by the origin soul for too short a time. It was many years after the Titanspinosaurus was created by the origin blood. I didn't have enough accumulation at the time. All right, I admit that I was very, very seriously injured. My demon soul's consciousness was blurry for a while. So, I could only go to outer space and go to the paradise that the otherworldly demons had specially created for me. There, I had subordinates who were loyal to me, the newborn great demon god of the primal demon race, and the experts of other otherworldly demons who saw me as a god. They would take good care of me and let me safely pass through that period of weakness. Beltans revealed what had happened at the time. Judging from what he said, he was indeed very weak after killing the Titanspinosaurus. He was worried that he would be targeted by the experts of other races and the giant astral beasts that had come to their senses. So, he could only return to the otherworldly demon's lair and rely on the strength of the entire race to get through that crisis. Therefore, he had no time to care about the earth-shattering change that was about to sweep through the galaxy in Hauran. It was only when I fully recovered that I found out what a great miracle had happened in the homeland of the primal demon race because of the collision of blood and soul. The tall, red-bearded old man's face glowed with a strange light. He seemed to be proud and worried at the same time. Fortunately, when I decided to use Hauran to kill the Titanspinosaurus, all the members of the primal demon race evacuated from Hauran first. That's because even I didn't have absolute confidence in defeating that supreme being. I was afraid that it would affect my clansmen, so I had them leave early. When I woke up, I found that the dragon race had been born, and there were brand new and weak humans. After the alien beasts had been baptized by the dragon's blood, their life level had been elevated, and they had astonishing spiritual intelligence. It was then that I found out that even the source of the unveil had been found after I left. The dragon race had risen, the unveil had been disturbed, and the young phoenix had begun to accumulate power. In my homeland, such an unimaginable change is happening. It's so fascinating that even I am amazed. At that time, I wasn't in a hurry to go back, and I didn't want to intervene. Although, if I had been willing to intervene, I could have led it in the direction I envisioned, but I didn't do so. In fact, there was only one reason why I didn't do so. Before the Titanspinosaurus died, it let me know of the existence of the abyss. It told me that the abyss was a great threat to us, especially after it died at my hands. In fact, it had just come out of the abyss before it was besieged by the giant astral beasts. Beltans stopped. Yuan was shocked. It went there? For a long time, he thought that no life form had ever stepped into the abyss. He thought that it was an alien of the abyss that had been trying to invade his world. It was like the god of the origin world building the origin world gate all over the world in an attempt to subvert the entire universe. Beltans nodded. It was the first to explore the abyss. It entered the abyss and slaughtered its way in. At the time, the abyss didn't have a gate. It just accidentally found it and went in. It is also the only alien I know of in our world that has truly stepped into the abyss. With its terrifying combat strength, it was invincible in our universe. It could also do whatever it wanted in the abyss. It was the strongest life form in the abyss at the time, and it needed to work together to drive it out. To prevent it from coming back, the abyss used all its power to create the abyss gate. The abyss gate was formed because the abyss wanted to guard against it, afraid that it would come back from time to time. After it was driven out, it discovered that the abyss beings had created the abyss gate. In its anger, it formed its own unique seal on the foundation of the abyss gate. Therefore, the current abyss gate is actually the combination of the abyss being's power and its power. When Beltans said this, a look of fascination appeared on his face. It is so different and powerful. Therefore, it was our side that was the first to invade the abyss. The beings of the abyss didn't seem to be able to do much against it in its strongest form. They were all beaten up badly by it. They were forced to gather the power of the abyss experts and do their best to drive it out. We were also afraid that it would come again, so we built another gate of the abyss to block all possibilities of its return. The great demon god coughed softly and said, "Therefore, the first thing I did after I recovered my strength was to go to the abyss on the path it left behind. When I arrived, I felt that there were abyss beings patrolling under the abyss gate. That feeling was different from the abyss beings' attacks. At the time, the abyss beings were on high alert and full of fear. Were they afraid of it? Yu Yuan asked curiously. It was the main reason, of course, but there was a bigger reason that I understood later. The great demon god Beltan smiled. When facing the unknown, as long as it is a living being, it will be afraid. At the time, it had already explored the abyss and learned about the wonders of the abyss, the situation of the abyss, and the level of the abyss beings. But the abyss knew nothing about us. The only thing that the abyss beings had come into contact with, and belonged to our side, was the supreme abyss gate. The abyss beings thought that the living beings in our world were at the level of Titanspinosaurus. Do you think they would be unable to eat or sleep in peace, and be afraid day and night? Chapter 1583. While we fear the abyss fears us as well. Speaking of this, the great demonic god Bertans seemed to find it funny. His red beard looked like a dark red ball of steel wire. It looked like it was burning with fire as he laughed. Titanspinosaurus had disappeared for many years. After the Titanspinosaurus stopped trying to attack the abyss door, the beings of the abyss started sneaking around and trying to spy on our world. And I had already prepared a great gift for them. He laughed like a child. Therefore, the god of the origin realm, who was well versed in the power of the soul and space, was attacked by us when he tried to sneak out of the abyss. The beings of the abyss grew more and more afraid of us, and no one dared to show themselves for a very long time. Until his expression suddenly turned cold. Later, people like the Void Spirit and Ruos Sun God Tree accidentally escaped to the Abyss Gate. Because of you, the two of them, who were in extremely bad condition, were bewitched by the god of the origin realm. It was through these two that the god of the origin realm and the beings of the abyss learned that the Titanspinosaurus they feared had died a long time ago. They also learned that the Titanspinosaurus was the strongest existence in our world. It was also because of these two that the beings of the abyss gradually learned about our world, learned about our structure, and learned about our peak combat strength. To them, our world was no longer an unknown place, and the Spinosaurus they feared the most was dead. Therefore, they began to harbor ill intentions. The god of the origin realm was a little special, so he naturally became their vanguard. Behind the god of the origin realm were the powerful beings of the abyss. They were all itching to make a move. Bertans didn't continue explaining Howren's situation. Instead, he focused on the abyss. After all, the abyss represented another world, a brand new and unknown territory. The beings of the abyss had sent the god of the origin realm to test them. To him, this was overstepping his boundaries. What he cared about was the collision of two worlds. All right, I'll tell you why I've come to see you. The smile on Great Emo God's face suddenly disappeared. His tall body stood on a pile of rubble in a broken palace. After pondering for a moment, he said, I hope you can become a god again. I also hope that you can do it through the Sun Spirit and the Origin Blood. Let me first explain my ideals and what I want to do. First of all, the extra layer of restriction that Titanspinosaurus added on the Abyss Gate contains the miraculous truth of life. I see it as a lock that contains the wonders of life. As for this lock, I tried to break it, but I found that I couldn't do it. I thought about it seriously for a long time before I realized that there must be another one who has also been granted the complete truth of life by the Origin Blood. Moreover, it must be at least close to the level of power of the Titanspinosaurus to open the lock it created. Brat, don't look at me like that. I'm not crazy. He glared at Yu Yuan unhappily. 300 years ago, when he was teaching Yu Yuan, he also scolded him like this. Yu Yuan, who originally felt unfamiliar and absent-minded, seemed to recall a bit of the past as if a dusty memory had exploded. Just like you, when you were still the great Een God King, advocated opening Howren to accommodate the races of the outside world. I, on the other hand, want to open the Abyss Gate. I want our world and the Abyss to be unobstructed. Bertans suddenly revealed his arrogance. I don't think that our world is weaker than it was before without the Titanspinosaurus. On the contrary, we've actually become stronger. We've produced even more peak warriors. Especially in Howran, you gave me a great surprise and made me believe that we are stronger than the other side. I hope that I, Bertans, can lead the foreign heavenly devils, the supreme primordial spirits of Howran, and the peak warriors of our world to visit the beings of the Abyss. He revealed his dream, or rather, his ambition. Yu Yuan looked at him in a daze. He suddenly understood why he, Bertans, was the undisputed number one in the endless universe. The appearance and strength of the god of origin world had caused the various powers to be in a terrible fix and feel extremely troubled. Anyone who knew about the secrets of the Abyss would think about how to defend against the Abyss and how to defend against it. But when Bertans first learned of the existence of the Abyss, he seemed to have thought of how to open the Abyss Gate, so that he could enter the Abyss and visit the beings of the Abyss. The great demon god Bertans, like the supreme Titanspinosaurus, was also preparing to wreak havoc in the Abyss. Yu Yuan couldn't help but think of what Zuan had said during the meeting. Zuan thought that the great demonic god Bertans was just as worried as he was when he stood at the gate of the Abyss. He was just as worried as he was that aliens would step out of the gate of Origin Realm and the gate of the Abyss and destroy the places they guarded. But that wasn't the case. The great demon god wanted to destroy the Abyss Gate. He was full of confidence in himself and his world. He believed that he, who could kill the Titanspinosaurus, would surpass the Titanspinosaurus after he recovered. He also believed that after he defeated the giant star beast, the peak combat power of the entire world would become stronger. He believed that this world under his care was stronger than the Abyss on the other side. So, you never thought of defending against it. You want to invade the Abyss. Yu Yuan immediately saw through his thoughts. Don't make it sound so bad. What do you mean invade the Abyss? I just want to visit the Abyss. Bertans glared at him in dissatisfaction. Since the other side arranged for a god of the origin world to plant spies in our world and lure many people, shouldn't I respond? So, he dragged his voice and said, I hope you can open the Abyss Gate. Course, from the looks of it, you have the highest chance. Before that, we need to think of a way to deal with the god of the origin world. As long as little Zhong can seal his soul completely for a moment, I can take away all of his soul thoughts. I want to use him to figure out the layout of the Abyss, the species and structure of the races, and prepare for our visit. Bertans wasn't afraid at all when he mentioned the god of the origin world. He only had a headache because the god of the origin world knew how to run and hide. Zhong Qichen seemed to be able to deal with the god of the origin world as long as he couldn't hide. Senior brother, does he know you? Yu Yuan was shocked. You're the only disciple I have. That doesn't include him, the space-time dragon. Therefore, he doesn't know, and I can't be bothered to explain too much to him. The only reason I found him and brought him back to the Medicine God sect is because he is the space-time dragon. I may need to borrow his power when dealing with the god of the origin world. That is what he means. The tall, red-bearded old man spoke of Zhong Qichen in an indifferent tone. After the supreme experts of the human race, such as Han Kuiyuan, Lin Doc, and Tan Xiaotian, transformed their main souls into nascent divinities, I saw them as part of my race. They're still the primordial devils of the outer realm. After all, the ancestral land of the prime devil race originated from Howran just like the human race. Both were created by the origin soul. I see the supreme experts of the human race as my own race, but you are my successor. Bertans obviously didn't like the dragons. Maybe it was because the dragons of Howran were all born from the blood essence of Titanspinosaurus. Oh right. The origin soul of Howren's core must have changed after I was seriously injured and went into hibernation. My guess is that something flew out of Titanspinosaurus's body after its death, passed through the flames of the Earth's core, and successfully reached the origin soul. Berton's expression was solemn. The formation of the godhood of Howren is still a mystery. I don't know what happened either. You didn't go back? Yu Yuan asked in surprise. You did. But I didn't manage to enter. The great demonic god snorted. You didn't give me an answer the last time I asked you. The wonders of the godhood of Howren don't exist in any other world of our world. I really don't know what the origin soul is combined with to form the origin soul that can create supreme existences. He said somewhat resentfully. The stubborn young phoenix and Han Kuiyuan have made Howren impregnable. Even I, who was originally from Howren, have many restrictions when I move around Howren. Yu Yuan looked thoughtful. Howren's origin soul could create godhood for Howren's beings. This godhood could also increase as Howren grew stronger and occupied the outside world. It was amazing. Other than Howren, there really weren't any godhoods in any other world. There wasn't a single celestial world that could produce so many supreme experts like this one. It was so special and rare. Even the great demonic god Bertons couldn't come into contact with the origin soul of Howren because of the demonic phoenix, Han Kuiyuan, and the Envain's protection. He didn't know what had happened to create the origin soul and the godhoods. I should go. You should go to Thousand Bird Realm. Today's conversation will be between you and me. No one else will know. Study all the mysteries related to the true meaning of life. I hope you won't be as petty as the demonic phoenix. She knew how to break through to rank 10, but she wasn't willing to share it with anyone other than Howren. I want to see you make the violent bear break through to rank 10, the grey goose and many other foreign beasts reach rank 10. This way, when the abyss gate opens, I'll be more confident. With an expectant smile on his face, he looked at Yu Yuan and gradually disappeared from sight. The blue-black demonic flower appeared on the smooth, mirror-like stone wall and gave off spatial energy. It wasn't until a long time after he left that Yu Yuan whispered to himself, Master. Countless great demon gods of countless worlds suddenly beamed with joy and complacency. Chapter 1584. Annihilation Starfield, Thousand Bird Realm. Standing at the ferry where the Death Lair used to be, Yu Yuan floated in the air and saw many majestic palaces. All kinds of palaces stood in different places in Thousand Bird Realm. They were of different shapes and were full of exotic styles. Some of the stone palaces were like spires, some were like turrets, some were built with wood, and some were made with strange crystals. The walls were shining with starlight. There were many newly built palaces scattered around the Chamber of Commerce, making Thousand Bird Realm seem full of vitality. The Star Race, Dark Spirit Race, Banshee, Silver Scale Race, Moonlight People, and other foreign races almost filled Thousand Bird Realm. There were also many foreign races that Yu Yuan had never seen and only heard of, who were also active in Thousand Bird Realm. Those few foreign races seemed to have crossed many galaxies in order to find the legendary items from Howren in the Chamber of Commerce's building. In their hearts, Howren was the most prosperous place in the world, the center of the entire universe. With this preconceived impression, they felt that as long as it was something from Howren, it was priceless and had magical power. Therefore, in the area where the Chamber of Commerce sold spiritual materials, there was an endless stream of people. Some of the foreign races who came in and out were full of joy, as if they had returned from a rewarding journey, and some were sighing, as if they hadn't found what they wanted. Compared to the last time Yu Yuan left, Thousand Bird Realm was dozens of times more lively. It had become the most important window for the Shenhun sect and the Chamber of Commerce to the outside world. Countless foreign races came after hearing the news, eager to buy the treasures and herbs they liked from Thousand Bird Realm and the Chamber of Commerce. Their star field was rich in precious crystals, many essences, famous herbs, and refined iron that contained rich energy were also brought over by them. They wanted to sell it through the Chamber of Commerce. After watching for a while, Yu Yuan knew that compared to Howren, they were still used to trading in outer space. After all, there were 5 supreme forces on Howren's side, Lindok, and Demonic Phoenix. You're finally here. He Sun, who had once guarded the Devil's Palace in the starry Ash Sea, had been waiting at the Star River Ferry for a long time. When he had just appeared, He Sun saw him looking at the Thousand Birds world with a curious gaze, but did not say anything to disturb him. When he retracted his gaze, He Sun said softly, "Those who were interested in Howren and wanted to explore Howren have all returned. There was also a portion of them who originally planned to go to Howren to see for themselves the strange races of Howren, but they all gave up on the idea. Therefore, the Thousand Birds realm is a little overcrowded." "Why?" Yu Yuan frowned. The last time he had been to the Fallen Moons, he had seen a large number of outsiders roaming around the Tongtian Trading Company's branch in the Jade Peak mountain range. He also learned that outsiders from the Starry River were pouring into the forbidden area through the demon abyss one after another. But now that he heard He Sun's words, because of Lord Taisher's serious injuries, the races in the Starry River are already doubting the Shunhun sect's ability. They are afraid that we won't be able to control them in Howren and ensure their safety. He Sun sighed softly and said, "Lin Dok killed Li Sha of the Moonlight People in Howren. Li Sha was still our ally in name. Even though she returned to Howren without permission, her death was too humiliating." He shook his head with a bitter smile. Li Sha had not created a divine seat in Howren. With the help of the Shunhun sect, she had become a peak 10th rank warrior with the bloodline of the Moonlight People. After she had recruited the Moonlight People and the ancient Moon Devil, she had pushed her reputation to a very high level. In the eyes of the outside races, Li Sha had been raised by the Shunhun sect because she had received help from the Shunhun sect. However, she was killed by Lin Dok with a single sword strike when she was returning to Haoshue. The Shunhun sect did not respond. Taisher and the Undying Bird had worked together to kill the Qilin in the Starry River and finally boosted their morale. However, before Taisher could return to the Thousand Birds realm, he was seriously injured by the demonic phoenix. Taisher was still recuperating in the bronze coffin under the Thousand Birds realm and had not appeared for a long time. Not long ago, the Sword Sect's master, Lin Dok, had killed Diggs, who had advanced to the 10th rank, with a single sword strike in the Starry River. He had even cut off one of the wings of the Void Spirit. After Long Jie had advanced to the Dragon God, he was slowly devouring the Shura of Gojoseon and Sabonis. The demonic phoenix, Lin Dok, and the dragon race, which was also from Howren and was recovering, had displayed their strength and foundation, causing the races that had allied with the Shunhun sect to panic. They all felt that the Shunhun sect, which had appeared once again, seemed to be unable to control the situation at all. The current Shunhun sect did not have any advantage in the complicated forces of Howren. Therefore, they did not dare to rashly step into Howren. They were afraid that Han Shuyuan and the demon race would kill them. Yu Yuan nodded. He also knew that the Shunhun sect's allies were a little doubtful of the ability of the Shunhun sect because of Taisher's serious injuries and the loss of the baby beast for the new Howren project. Taisher. Just as he was about to speak, Yu Yuan sensed a joyful soul remembrance in the distance. Wait. He motioned for He Sun to not be in a hurry and flew into the sky. He quickly reached the realm barrier of Thousand Bird Realm and easily crossed it. Soon, Thousand Bird Realm appeared under his feet. When he reached the dark and cold space, he suddenly looked in a direction. There was a world he was familiar with there, and it was bathed in dim starlight. Floating Life Realm. The floating life realm that had mysteriously disappeared from the star race's illusion star zone and reappeared in the annihilation star zone was not far from Thousand Bird realm. The joy he sensed came from the sword soul of the heaven-raising sword that had been hibernating in his arm bone for a long time. The sword soul, the scabbard, and the sword blade, the heaven-raising sword, were all being nurtured in the center of the floating life realm. Because he appeared in Thousand Bird realm, and because he was in the annihilation star zone, the sword soul immediately sent a message when it sensed his presence. The floating life realm was created by Nye Chintian. The divine sword had appeared in the Firefly star zone and brought the sword intent of the river of sword light back to Hauran. After returning to the sword cave, it came to the annihilation star zone through the cold abyss entrance. After that, the divine sword had been in the floating life realm, washing its blade and waiting silently. It was waiting for Yu Yuan. At this moment, the moment Yu Yuan sensed the heaven-raising sword, he knew that this divine sword would fly out of the floating life realm with a thought. If he used the spatial power of the dragon beheading platform to help guide it, he should be able to grasp this sword very quickly. Right now, he had the ability to control this divine sword and release the power of 9 slashes to the sky. Old friend, long time no see. Yu Yuan grinned. His mind moved slightly, suppressing the excitement of the sword soul and signaling it to not be in a hurry. Rumble! The underground of the floating life realm trembled for a moment. A beautiful figure flew out from the well where Seven Loathsome had been trapped. Her entire body was covered in brilliant starlight. Star race, Denise. She seemed to have sensed something. She appeared above the floating life realm and looked towards Thousand Bird realm with puzzlement in her eyes. This young miss has come to the floating life realm. Strange, after her bloodline reached rank 8, shouldn't she be roaming the stars? Yu Yuan muttered. After communicating with the sword soul, he returned to Thousand Bird realm. Thousand Bird realm, where the divine soul sect was located, on a piece of land that was extremely far away from the merchant guild, figures that he was familiar with appeared one after another. Blue Nightmare, Tian Tsang, Earth Demon, White Ghost, Jiang Miaojia, Hua Xian, and the others looked up at him slowly descending. Celestial Demon, Earth Demon, through the great demon god Bertans, he learned that Hauran's current Earth Demon was actually an celestial demon. It was only because Haokong had undergone a shocking change later on that the Earth demons that were born later on might be slightly different from the heavenly demons of Belton's time. Among this, the source of the Yin vein must have caused the newborn Earth demons to be tainted with the presence of the Yin vein. Pure celestial demons like Blue Nightmare and Tian Tsang were persuaded by Taisher to join the Shenhun sect. Now that he thought about it, it didn't seem to be a betrayal at all. The Shenhun sect was born because of Bertun's guidance. After he transformed into a nascent spirit, he was a prime devil of the celestial demon race. Taisher and the other nascent spirits were all members of the great demon god's race. Since this was the case, foreign celestial demons like Blue Nightmare and Tian Tsang were not traitors. Take me to him. After Yu Yuan landed, he shouted and indicated that he wanted to see Taisher. The lords are waiting for you. Chapter 1585. The lords are waiting for you. Tian Tsang, who had rushed over from Hauran, stood in front of the huge, ink-colored palace. Seeing Yu Yuan arrive, he bowed slightly and said, because he knew who Yu Yuan was, every time he faced Yu Yuan, he respected him from the bottom of his heart. On this point, many of the new generation of the Shenhun sect, and even the Tianqi, felt that it was strange and puzzling. They couldn't figure out why he, with his realm and cultivation, would think so highly of Yu Yuan. It's very tall. Yu Yuan raised his head and exclaimed. The ink-colored palace in front of him was so majestic that he needed to look up. When he landed, he noticed that this palace surpassed all the foreign race buildings in the Thousand Birds realm. It was probably hundreds of feet tall. Not only was it tall, but it also occupied a wide area. It seemed to represent the high status of the Shunhun sect in the Thousand Birds realm. And last time, when he left the Thousand Birds realm, this palace didn't even have a prototype. On both sides of the huge stone door that was faintly opened, there were statues of ferocious monsters standing upright. They were also lifelike, like terrifying creatures that only appeared in everyone's nightmares. Yu Yuan glanced and found that there were many people he had never seen before who were looking at him with a scrutinizing gaze. Judging from the clothes and aura of those unfamiliar people, they should also be from the Shunhun sect. Almost all of them were in the Sun Spirit realm and the Carefree realm. There were more than a dozen of them. Their auras were awe-inspiring, and their soul energy was surging. They should be the same as Hua Xin and Jiang Miaojie, born in the outer realm of the Star River. They were the new nobles of the Shunhun sect like the Tianqi. Perhaps they had also learned that Taisher had been severely injured by the demon phoenix, so they had specially come to visit. Because they had never been to Hauran and had never seen him, they were quite interested in him. Glancing at them, Yu Yuan used his soul and qi to investigate. He knew that these new generation of the Shunhun sect, whether it was the Sun Spirit realm or a certain stage of the Carefree realm, were actually stronger than the same realm of the Shunhun sect. Moreover, there was an aura of slaughter on their bodies, as if they had been fighting all year round. Yu Yuan nodded inwardly. From these people, he knew that the new generation of the Shunhun sect was not weak at all. At this moment, Tenzang leaned to the side in front of the wide gate and motioned for Yu Yuan to enter. Just as Yu Yuan was about to step through the door, he glanced at Tiansong, and his expression flickered. Tiansong winked, shook his head, and said, "Please." Yu Yuan, the elegant and refined Jiang Miaojie, was also standing at the door. There was a trace of worry in her beautiful eyes, as if she was worried about something. "Aren't you guys going in?" Yu Yuan was surprised. Jiang Miaojie smiled awkwardly. "The lords won't let me in. Please." Tiansong shouted again. Obviously, he was urging him to hurry up. Yu Yuan didn't say anything else. He entered the hall that looked very dark from the outside. He couldn't see what was inside. As soon as he entered the hall, Yu Yuan found that the light was indeed very dim. In the center of the vast palace hall, there was a huge hole that led directly to the ground. Faint soul power spread from the giant hole, calming one's mind. It was as if all of one's worries could be swept away. The patriarch of the Dark Spirit clan was wearing a dark green robe and sitting on the sky-wood scepter. His weather-beaten face was full of vicissitudes and decadence. He seemed to have aged a lot. He hovered over the giant hole at the center of the hall. When Yu Yuan entered, he immediately turned around and nodded. The battle in the full spirit world made him realize that Yu Yuan had won the Phoenix's trust, and it was the kind that didn't hold back. Briset didn't know why the Empress thought so highly of Yu Yuan, but it was all thanks to the Empress that he was able to keep his life and bring his bloodline back to rank 10. Since that person valued Yu Yuan so much, he would always be friendly to Yu Yuan. Beside him, a short demoness was also hovering in the air. The demoness' long hair fell to her butt and was rolled into a cushion. She sat on the futon formed by her hair. Her back was hunched, and her pair of green eyes looked sinister and evil. It was as if one would be pulled into a ghost realm where evil spirits ran rampant if they stared into her eyes for a moment longer. When Yu Yuan entered, she looked down at the deep hole. She only raised her head to glance at Yu Yuan for a moment before looking back at the deep hole. God King Tianqi was the only one with his feet on the ground. He had his back to Yu Yuan, and he was also looking down at the giant hole. But when Yu Yuan came over, he suddenly turned around. Then, the God King of the Shunhun sect, who was famous for his vitality, suddenly shook. His expression gradually turned solemn. He didn't know what miracle had happened to Yu Yuan, but he could sense that compared to the last time they met, Yu Yuan's young spirit which was hidden deep in the small world of vitality, didn't even give off a special aura. But it was enough to shock him to the core and make him feel uneasy. What was going on? God King Tianqi's eyes were dark and he looked pensive. His gaze also roamed around Yu Yuan's chest. The stone statue with two faces, representing the godly king of the ruins of Sinkhole, also floated above the giant hole. Opposite Tianqi, on the other side of the giant hole, a pitch-black cloak floated. The high priest of the otherworldly demons, Reed, was constantly releasing darkness from his cloak. Purple demonic flames surged in his eye sockets as he seemed to smile at Yu Yuan. Yu Yuan, this is the demoness matriarch, Leibeka, Sinkhole shouted from within the stone statue. Leibeka, among all the experts of beings beyond the heavens, was originally ranked 8th after Brizet. The demoness matriarch, who was introduced, still had her head lowered as she looked down. She had no intention of speaking to Yu Yuan. It was as if, in her heart, Yu Yuan, a junior of the Shunhun sect, wasn't worthy of standing next to her. If this wasn't Shunhun sect territory. Yu Yuan smiled faintly and nodded. He also didn't say a word. Reed, Brizet, Leibeka, and the two god kings, Tianqi and Sinkhole, surrounded the deep hole with a thought. Yu Yuan also rose into the air, right next to the sinkhole he was most familiar with. He saw that, in the deep hole at the center of the giant palace, floated the soul pool he was incomparably familiar with. Above the soul pool was the giant bronze coffin that represented God King Taisher. The soul pool was like a table that supported the shrunken bronze coffin. Together, it floated at the bottom of the dark hole. However, the soul pool seemed to be a long way from the bottom of the dark hole. Inside the walls of the soul pool, there were many souls moving. Pure purple-black soul energy seeped out of the walls and merged into the giant bronze coffin. The lid of the giant bronze coffin was tightly closed. Countless tiny words, like the stars in the sky, flew on the coffin lid and surface, giving off a mysterious and faintly discernible feeling. "How is Taisha right now?" Yu Yuan asked. He also knew why everyone's expressions were so serious. He was clearly at the scene, but he couldn't smell Taisher's movements. He didn't even know if Taisher was alive or dead. In front of the door, only Tian Tsang followed him in. After the door slowly closed, he silently came over. Tian Tsang didn't fly up. Instead, he circled around and came under the black cloak in the air. He actually stood next to Reed. Yu Yuan looked at Tian Tsang in surprise. "In the future, just call me Yu Qian." He answered Yu Yuan's doubts with an expressionless face. "Not long ago, the great demon god Bertuns cleansed my abyss devil soul. All the imprints, Yin energy, and soul threads related to the Yin vein have been wiped clean. My abyss devil soul has been pulled back to its rightful place by that person. In the future, I have nothing to do with the land of terror, Yu, and the Yin vein." Yu Qian explained the reason. Yu Yuan stilled and nodded to show that he understood. When he was at the door, he found that Yu Qian didn't have a trace of Yin energy from the land of terror. At the same time, the frigid power that had originally existed in his devil soul was completely removed. After the great demon god Bertuns took action, Ghost King Tian Tsang became the heavenly devil Yu Qian again. It gave him the right to become the great demon god again. ZZZT. Thousands of green soul threads burst out of the cushion under the Banshee Rebecca's butt and shot towards the giant bronze coffin like thousands of lightning bolts. However, they seemed to have activated something. To Yu Yuan's astonishment, the countless tiny characters instantly condensed into numerous phoenixes that danced gracefully in the air. Purple phoenixes. Chapter 1586. The phoenixes appeared on the lid of the giant bronze coffin and on the walls of the coffin. All of the tiny characters seemed to have been corroded by the purple blood of the demonic phoenix. As a result, many purple phoenixes appeared on the surface of the giant bronze coffin. The moment the leader of the Banshee race, Rebecca, touched the coffin lid with her thousands of light green soul threads and serene lightning, it seemed to have disturbed the blood energy left behind by the demonic phoenix. The light green serene lightning and the dancing phoenixes immediately clashed at close range on the coffin lid. Then, Rebecca's power was clearly defeated. More than half of it was gone in a short time. The hunchbacked female leader, who was sitting cross-legged on a praying mat made of her hair, had a dark expression. Small demonic runes appeared in the depths of her green eyes. The demonic runes turned into even smaller purple phoenixes in the depths of her eyes. She snorted and covered her eyes with the pad of her finger, extinguishing the demonic energy that was corroding her brain. All of the green serene lightning that had penetrated the coffin lid flew away in an instant and returned to the praying mat under her but when Rebecca opened her eyes again, the strange phoenixes formed by demonic energy in her eyes had disappeared. However, her expression was very serious. She said in a low voice, "I have to try again." "Don't be in a hurry," the ruins of End said softly. Yu Yuan, who had been watching her work the entire time, suddenly felt a hint of displeasure disappear from her heart. He could see that the female leader was thinking about how to break the power left behind by the demonic phoenix and how to get Taisher out as soon as possible. That was why she didn't even take a second look at her when she came in. She was neither cold nor warm. Most likely, she was still focused on thinking about how to help Genesis Supreme break free. "Didn't you say that Taisher was fine?" Yu Yuan frowned. The god statue that represented the benevolent side adjusted and faced him. "Taisher is fine, but he needs someone to wake him up before he can come out of the coffin," the ruins of End Divine King replied. Yu Yuan had a puzzled expression. Yu Qian coughed softly. Knowing that his memories were still sealed, he explained to him on behalf of the ultimate. Taisher's coffin is very special. It is divided into 2 levels. The lower level was created by the Divine King of extreme intelligence, and it possesses the miraculous power to stop time. Both Brizette of the Dark Spirit race and High Priest Reed were shocked when he spoke of time stopping. Yu Yuan was also surprised. Therefore, as long as Taisher is in the lower level of the bronze coffin, he won't age or die. Aside from the bottom layer that could stop time, there was another layer that contained rich flesh power. The demonic phoenix gave me that blood power when the Shunhun sect was on friendly terms with the Goblin Temple, Yu Qian added. As soon as he said this, Yu Yuan's expression became strange. He didn't even need to think to know that the flesh power contained in one of them was most likely from the Chaos Kuan. It was probably in that layer that Taisher had hatched the dragon egg of the Titanspinosaurus. After the Shunhun sect had killed the great demon god Grek, he must have been placed in that layer as well. Even the Qilin's blood had been used to nourish the dragon egg. One reason why Taisher had been able to survive after his godhood had been shattered was that the Chaos Kuan's blood had given him a longer lifespan. The other reason was that he had spent most of his time in the layer where time had stopped. In the layer where time had stopped, Taisher had even stopped losing his life force. He wouldn't grow stronger or weaker. He would remain in a constant state. He's fine. He just needs an external power to wake him up in the layer where time has stopped. That's because his soul has stopped time in that layer, the ruins of End Divine King said. Back when he was in the Fallen Moon Forbidden Land, he spent most of his time in the layer where time had stopped as well. Occasionally, he would be awakened by someone or a foreign soul. Only then would he go to the layer above to establish a connection with the soul refining pool and learn about the changes in the outside world. If he felt that the time wasn't right, he would go to the layer below and continue to stay in the layer where time had stopped. But now, the ruins of End Divine King's voice was filled with helplessness. He's in the layer where time has stopped, but the surface of the giant bronze coffin contains the blood power of the demonic phoenix. We can't open the coffin lid and wake him up. The most troublesome thing is that we have to neutralize the power left behind by the demonic phoenix. We can't break it open by force. The only person who had his feet firmly planted on the ground, the Revelation God King, slowly clenched his fist. He was as irritable as a trapped beast. His enormous fist was filled with a violent mixture of blood power and spirit power. Gradually, the terrifying magnetic field around his fist seemed to be strong enough to destroy a small realm. I can destroy the coffin lid and the blood power left behind by the demonic phoenix, but I can also destroy the layer where time has stopped. If Tysher were to explode in that layer before he wakes up, his soul and memories would be disrupted, and he would be severely injured. The God King, who seemed to have been feasting all the time in the fallen moon forbidden land, ruffled his hair in irritation. Yu Yuan's gaze landed on Tianqi's slowly unclenched fist. As his yang spirit had transformed, his perception of flesh power had grown even sharper. He discovered that even though Tianqi's flesh power wasn't as vast as the demon's, Tianqi seemed to have comprehended something strange when it came to the combination of blood power and spirit power. He had mixed a portion of his blood power with a portion of his spirit power, and they clashed and intertwined with each other in his clenched fist. It was as if they could increase his strength over and over again. Moreover, this increasing strength didn't explode at all. It seemed to be able to explode at any time he wished. Once it did, the impact of the explosion would be unimaginably terrifying to Yu Yuan. If Tianqi's punch was to the brim with power, even the Qilin and the White Tiger would be instantly blown apart. That was, if he was given enough time to gather power and hit his target. Yu Yuan nodded to himself. He had originally looked down on the members of the Shunhun sect from beyond the heavens, but now he didn't think so anymore. This mighty god King Tianqi was probably an extremely violent and destructive person. He was the complete opposite of the Gui Su cultivators. Tianqi lacked intelligence, but once his enemies were restrained and ready for his next attack, not many of Howren's so-called peak experts would be able to withstand it. The downside was that he needed a suitable helper. After all, no one would stand still and let him hit them. Demonic Phoenix knows all too well about the wonders of this coffin. What she did was to confirm that Tysher had entered the level where time had stopped and put a lock on this bronze coffin. And this lock can't be forcefully broken. Otherwise, Lord Tysher would be seriously injured, Yu Qian said dejectedly. In the outer realms, Leibeka is the most proficient in all kinds of restrictions, barriers, and arrays. If she can't do anything then. Brizette, who was sitting on the skywood scepter, felt a headache when she saw the Demoness clan leader fail several times. Yu Yuan, you can give it a try. Inside Reed's cloak, the two devil souls that were like purple flames suddenly spoke in pure Howren human language at the same time. Him. The chieftain of the female monster race finally looked Yu Yuan in the eye, her expression full of disdain. Before Yu Yuan had come, Reed had said that if she, Leibeka, couldn't do it, she could wait for Yu Yuan to come to the Thousand-Bird Realm and let Yu Yuan try. Leibeka was unhappy at the time. After all, she had been specially invited by the Shunhun sect and was an expert in this field. If she couldn't break the blood lock left behind by demonic Phoenix, she felt that only someone stronger than her, like Beltans, could open the bronze coffin and awaken Tysher, who was in a state where time had stopped. She only recognized people who were stronger than her. Yu Yuan was a junior of the Shunhun sect. He was just lucky. What right did he have to challenge her in this field? Therefore, when High Priest Reed brought up the matter again, Leibeka, who was already irritated by the bloodlock, became even more unhappy. Him? What right does he have to break it? Heaven Enlightenment God King, who was also dissatisfied with Yu Yuan, also snorted coldly. It's our old patriarch. He feels that Yu Yuan has a chance of breaking the bloodlock left behind by demonic Phoenix and awakening Tysher, Reed said with a smile. Beltans. Lebecca and Tianchi, who had wanted to ridicule him a bit more, suddenly fell silent because of Reed's words. They could not believe in Yu Yuan, but they did not dare to ignore the great demon god Beltans. Then let me give it a try. After taking a deep breath, Yu Yuan stared at the bronze coffin floating in the middle of the crater with a grim look in her eyes. In this life, it was the first time he came into contact with demonic phoenix's power. Chapter 1587. Whoosh. As soon as Yu Yuan finished speaking, the soul-refining pool that was floating in the air suddenly flew up into the air. Lebecca of the Demoness race looked surprised. She didn't expect Yu Yuan to be able to control and command the divine-grade artifact that belonged to Taisher. She had never been to Howran before, so she didn't know that Yu Yuan could control the soul pool back in the Fallen Moon Forbidden Land. Soon, the soul-transforming pool that carried the bronze coffin left the bottomless pit and stopped right in front of Yu Yuan. Tianchi, Guisu, Reed, and Brizette naturally looked at Yu Yuan. "Congratulations!" The benevolent side of the stone statue seemed to smile. It was only now that everyone noticed Yu Yuan's cultivation. He had suddenly gone from Yang spirit to Freedom Realm. Brizette of the Dark Spirit race said with a bitter smile, "The way the humans of Howran obtain great power is so short that it makes one jealous." In the full spirit realm, Yu Yuan was only in the soul wander realm. He hadn't even formed his Yang spirit yet. He was a rank 7 foreign warrior. How long had it been? Yu Yuan, who had broken through from the soul wander realm to the freedom realm, was equivalent to a rank 7 foreign warrior who had reached rank 9 in a short time. "Congratulations!" High Priest Reed of the Heavenly Devil race and Yu Qian, the former leader of the Heavenly Devil race, sincerely congratulated Yu Yuan after their death. Reed thought so highly of Yu Yuan because even the great demon god Bertans had mentioned Yu Yuan more than once on different occasions. Reed didn't know the details, but he had followed Bertans for many years. He knew that anyone who could make Bertans speak more than a few words must be extraordinary. Moreover, the great demon god Bertans had instructed him to find Yu Yuan in Howran and deliver his decree. Reed also knew that before Yu Yuan came to the Thousand Birds realm, he had just met with his old patriarch in Reed's memory. All of the powerhouses from Howran who were lucky enough to be treated like this by the great demon god Bertans were also from the Shinhan sect. It was the great Een Divine King who wielded the dragon beheading platform and killed all the peak warriors of the various races. Whoosh! A wisp of soul thought that came from Yu Yuan's forehead quietly landed on the floating bronze coffin. It landed on the coffin lid, on a character that had transformed from a purple phoenix. The moment the soul remembrance from the outside landed on the coffin lid, it was like a stone falling into a pool of water in the valley. As the ink-like soul ripples rippled, the strange rune that was as small as a mosquito suddenly turned into a purple phoenix that spread its wings. Boom! Yu Yuan's body trembled slightly. He immediately sensed that he was facing the common people of Howran. Among the many small words imprinted on the coffin lid, only one of them had turned into a purple phoenix. However, in Yu Yuan's mind, it was as if all the living beings of Howran were charging towards him. Humans, ferocious and ruthless demons, golden-winged rocks, lightning condors, and birds that filled the sky. There were also fireflies that almost covered the sky, crawling insects and long snakes in the depths of the earth and swamp. Those that flew in the sky, those that swam in the sea, those that crawled on the ground, everything that had appeared in Howran, even the extinct spirit insects and demon beasts, seemed to have been resurrected. Moreover, there were so many of them that it was difficult to count. Chi-Chi. Yu Yuan's forehead was torn apart by an invisible force, and his flesh was mangled. His eyes were also seeped into by the blood between his eyebrows. The wisp of soul remembrance that was connected to his soul seemed to have become a link for the endless demonic energy to corrode him. Soul severing, demon subduing. He silently chanted the soul-severing / and demon-subduing / in his mind. Suddenly, tiny crimson sword auras formed in his arms and instantly appeared between his torn eyebrows. In an instant, hundreds of tiny crimson sword auras engaged in a fierce battle with the demonic energy that was corroding him. It took a full 15 minutes for Yu Yuan to eliminate the demonic energy that had followed his wisp of soul remembrance and was about to corrode his forehead. In this 15 minutes, under his own forehead, he seemed to be holding a heavenly sword and slashing out millions of sword auras. The millions of sword auras all used the soul-severing / and demon-subduing / to extinguish the terrifying demonic energy within the demonic energy. He seemed to have killed all the living beings of Howren in a short period of time. He killed countless demons, insects, and birds, and destroyed several empires of Howren. Disregarding everything else, just the heaviness in his heart made Yu Yuan feel exhausted. And that was only a portion of the power that the demonic phoenix had left behind in the giant bronze coffin. In their first encounter, Yu Yuan had suffered a crushing defeat. He suddenly realized that the gap between him and the demonic phoenix was still very large. He also recalled the words of the Chaos Kuan once again. With his current level of strength, even if his yang spirit had been cleansed by the origin blood, even if he held the dragon-slaying platform in his hand, he would still not be able to escape if he really met the demonic phoenix. How do you feel? The mountain-like Tianqi God King looked at the torn wound between Qin Lai's eyebrows that was still bleeding. He was clearly taking pleasure in Qin Lai's misfortune. You didn't expect this, did you? The demonic phoenix's demonic energy included all the living beings of Howren. Did you feel that you had just engaged in a fierce battle with the living beings of Howren? Yu Yuan's expression was cold as he ignored Tianqi God King's mockery. The torn wound between his eyebrows had already healed after the demonic energy was wiped away and Tianqi God King's words. His forehead was still bright and clean. No one would have thought that his forehead, which had been badly mutilated just a moment ago, could heal so quickly. Sitting on the skywood scepter, Brizette's eyes widened slightly. He looked carefully and found that this was not a trick. He really could not see any wounds. Looking at the giant bronze coffin in front of him, Yu Yuan pondered for a moment and said, "Lord Abyss Sinkhole, other than you, please leave for a moment." Just now, he did not use any blood energy, and the power of the yang spirit that contained the true meaning of life did not leak out at all. He touched it with his soul thought, but not only did it not have any effect, the demonic energy left behind by the demonic phoenix had almost entered his forehead through the connection between his soul thought and soul consciousness. The scene he saw was of the living beings of Howren. Only, he did not see the figure of the dragon race. Combined with the words of the desolate god, the Chaos Kuan, and the great demon god Bertuns, he knew that the demonic phoenix was inside Howren. It should have understood the secrets of the blood of every race. The demonic phoenix could use its own blood energy to create the clansmen of every race. For example, when he fought against Hua Xian, he could separate the silver scale race, Azura, and great demons from his yang spirit. The demonic phoenix was even more powerful. The blood energy contained in the demonic energy she left behind included the living beings of Howren. When her demonic soul and demonic energy merged into one, it became countless living beings. Since the soul did not work, he planned to try the blood. His yang spirit was very special right now. He did not want too many people to know, especially Brizette and Lebecca. He did not want them to know too much about him. You want to drive us away? Are you sure? Lebecca of the female demon race had a dark expression. After a cold snort she said, "We're here. If you can't control it, we can help you resolve it. You've seen the demonic phoenix's terrifying power. Do you really think you can withstand it when more demonic energy explodes?" "Don't court death," Tianqi said coldly. "I choose to believe him." High Priest Reed was very straightforward. Before Gui Su could speak, he glanced at Yu Qian and said with a smile, "I also have something to say to you in private." "It's my honor." Yu Qian bowed respectfully. Then, he followed the fluttering black cloak out of the hall. "Please leave first," Gui Su said. When he spoke, Tianqi did not say anything. He just gave the benevolent side of the evil god statue a look, telling Gui Su to be careful. He was worried that Yu Yuan's reckless actions might destroy the bronze coffin and seriously injure Taisher. "You may not believe in Yu Yuan, but you must believe in me," Gui Su said softly. Tianqi nodded and then left. Brizette and Lebecca seemed to trust Gui Su. After Gui Su was obviously driving them away, they did not insist and left the giant hall. "All right, don't worry. Other than the great demon god Bertuns, no one should be able to sneak in silently." Gui Su motioned for Yu Yuan to do as he pleased. Chapter 1588. Qi Sun Realm. The Crimson Demon Sect's Zhou Tsangmin, the veteran Freedom Realm cultivators Zhang Guanyu, Fang Yao, Zhan Runan, and other outstanding cultivators from other sects were all waiting silently. They were waiting for the arrival of the White Heavenly Tiger. They had received news not long ago that the Heavenly Tiger of the Goblin Temple would come to the Red Devil School's Qi Sun realm and bring people to fix the Star River Ferry. Zhou Tsangmin, who had a guilty conscience, had told the outside world that the Red Devil School had fixed the Star River Ferry at Qi Sun realm and opened it again before Heavenly Tiger arrived. However, Heavenly Tiger, who had hurried over from nearby galaxies, didn't change his mind. Zhang Guanyu had also hurried over from Hauran using the Star River Ferry and said that Sect Master Qin Luo had told them to be careful when dealing with Heavenly Tiger's arrival. Fang Yao, who was a step slower than Zhou Tsangmin and was now in the late stage of the Sun God realm, suddenly exclaimed. On the bumpy surface of Qi Sun realm, the faces of the cultivators from the Red Devil School all changed. Their eyes were filled with shock. "How can this be?" Zhang Guanyu murmured. In the gloomy and cold galaxy, a mighty white heavenly tiger came over like a moving snow-white mountain. Killing demonic energy rippled from his body, as if it had twisted time and space. The omnipresent power of the galaxy sizzled, as if it had been pushed aside by his demonic energy. Behind Heavenly Tiger, there was a thunder eagle that covered an area of several hundred acres. Its broad feathers flashed with lightning and thunder. There was also a crimson bull that seemed to be burning with flames behind the Heavenly Tiger's back, breathing in and out some kind of fire. The Thunder Eagle and the bull were both level 9 demon kings. Behind them were a dozen or so level 8 demon beasts of the same race. However, this wasn't what shocked Zhang Guanyu. Behind Heavenly Tiger and the other great demons of Hauran, hundreds of demon beasts from the outer realms gradually appeared. Most of them were level 7 and 8 demon beasts. The bestial nature in their eyes far surpassed their intelligence. However, these demon beasts that had nothing to do with Hauran and were looked down upon appeared very obedient and docile, as if they had become a part of the demon army. This, Zhou Tsangmin was also at a loss. For a long time, the demons of Hauran had looked down on the demon beasts scattered in the universe. First of all, the demon beasts weren't intelligent and unable to transform when they were at level 7 or 8. Most of the level 9 beasts, such as the violent bear, the gray goose, and the deep-sea giant winged lizard, couldn't speak the human language. They didn't have intelligence comparable to other living creatures, so the vast number of demon clans viewed them as beasts. None of the demon beasts in the outer realms had bloodline. Bloodline was and Hauran was. And almost all of the demons of Hauran had the ability to become demon gods. Every demon race with a demon god had intelligence comparable to that of humans. In all aspects, the demons of Hauran were superior to the demon beasts in the outer realms. Therefore, the great demons naturally had a sense of superiority. When the demons and humans of Howran worked together to expand their territory in the outer realms, they didn't pay much attention to the demon beasts that weren't intelligent enough. Even if the demon beasts wanted to get close to them, they would be pushed aside and ostracized. But now, the Howran demon god led by the white heavenly tiger, 2 level 9 demon kings, and the level 8 great demons of Howran had accepted the demon beasts from the outer realms and even united them? What was the Goblin Temple trying to do? Did the demonic phoenix eat the wrong medicine? Why did it suddenly change its attitude and accept the demon beasts from the outer realms? Although the demon beasts aren't intelligent enough and there aren't any level 10 demons, their numbers and combat power far exceed the great demons of Howran. The Howran major world can't compare to the demon beasts of the 100 races scattered across the universe. Zhou Tsangmin's expression changed slightly. He suddenly thought of the words of the Chaos Kuan and Yu Yuan. He had some ideas. Whoosh! The majestic white heavenly tiger signaled for the other demons and beasts to stop when he approached Qi Sun's realm. He transformed into his human form and landed like a heavy mountain. "Greetings, Lord Heavenly Tiger." "Greetings, Lord Heavenly Tiger." The cultivators of the Red Devil School greeted him obediently and offered their respect. For the past 1,000 years, the main forces of Howran in the outer realms were Zhu Zhen-ing of the Devil's Palace and Heavenly Tiger of the Goblin Temple. Heavenly Tiger was either recovering from his injuries. Once he recovered, he would continue to conquer the outer realms. Last time, it was said that he was injured in the battle with the great demon god Grek and returned to Howran to rest. Now that he was at the edge of the dark galaxy and had gathered so many people, could it be Qi Sun's realm will be taken over by the Goblin Temple from now on? You can talk to your sect master. As for how to compensate the Red Devil School, the great demons of the Goblin Temple will discuss with you. After Heavenly Tiger landed, he didn't waste any time and went straight to the point. Then he looked at Zhou Tsangmin and asked, "Not long ago, did you see the Chaos Kuan fighting with someone at the edge of the dark galaxy?" Zhou Tsangmin answered cautiously, "I saw it. The one fighting with the Chaos Kuan seemed to be Yu Yuan. Because it was too far away and Yu Yuan only showed Dharma, I couldn't be sure." Dharma? The people of the Red Devil School, the Thunder Eagle in the sky, and the Burning Bull were obviously shocked. Dharma meant that he had broken through to the Freedom Realm, which meant that Yu Yuan's battle strength had increased tremendously. "Okay, I understand." Heavenly Tiger nodded and didn't ask for more details. Instead, he said, "Later, the main force of the Goblin Temple will be at Qi Sun's realm. Other than us, there will be more beasts arriving. That person has decided to attack the blood demons in the Dark Galaxy and target the primordial blood continent." Zhou Tsangmin, Zhang Guanyu, and Fang Yao all exclaimed softly. The battle in the Dark Galaxy hadn't been too long ago. Why was the Goblin Temple sending another wave? This time, the Goblin Temple doesn't need to rely on the power of the human race. Heavenly Tiger's eyes were deep. So, the Goblin Temple has taken over Qi Sun's realm and the Galactic Ferry here. After you return to Howran, please tell the other forces to not send any humans to Qi Sun's realm for now. Zhou Tsangmin was completely dumbfounded after hearing this. He realized that something earth-shattering had happened. It was beyond his understanding. He might have to return to Howran first, ask Sect Master Qin Hao, and report to Han Yuan. "Okay, we'll leave Qi Sun's realm right away," Zhou Tsangmin said seriously. A rank 9 heavenly star beast in the Shadow Illusion Star Zone quietly left its nest and went to Qi Sun's realm. It announced that it would be loyal to the Goblin Temple in Howran. The Dark Gold Beast King in the Dark Spirit Race's realm also went to Qi Sun's realm with 100 Dark Gold Beasts. 2 rank 9 deep-sea giant winged lizards seemed to have gone to Qi Sun's realm from the Silver Scale Race and the Water Race's territories. The Crimson Tiger King left the Light Race and told Canley of the Light Race that it would be loyal to the demonic phoenix. The giant desert sea crocodile killed many members of the Moonlight People and announced that it would only listen to the demonic phoenix. In the boundless sea of stars, the intelligent beings of the hundreds of races in the universe received different messages every day. Suddenly, the spirit beasts scattered across countless realms seemed to have received some kind of order. As if they had understood something, they chose to become members of the Howran Goblin Temple. The Goblin Temple was only a part of the demon race that ruled Howran. The demonic phoenix had been guarding Howran for many years. Occasionally, she would go out to hunt star behemoths and work with the strongest human experts to stop the great demon god Bertuns. No one would have thought that the demonic phoenix, who had always rejected outsiders, would go crazy. After she gave the order, all the spirit beasts in the universe responded. In just a short time, dozens of rank 9 spirit beasts in different galaxies chose to be loyal to her. There were so many rank 8 and rank 7 spirit beasts that it was impossible to estimate. Due to the demonic phoenix's change of attitude and her order, the Goblin Temple began to accept, or rather, gather all the spirit beasts and became the most terrifying force in the entire universe. Thousand Bird Realm. Heaven Revelation God King, High Priest Reed, Brizette, and Lebecca were all shocked by this news. They were all frightened by the demonic phoenix. P.S. Reed's part in the previous chapter has been corrected due to negligence. Chapter 1589. The demon phoenix should have mastered the ability to transform all beasts completely and reach rank 10 bloodline. High Priest Reed said in a serious tone in another dark hall of the Shenhun sect. Then, he sighed regretfully. The loss of that thing may have allowed her to break through again. Sigh. There were only a few people in this small hall. Lebecca, Tianqi, Yuqian, and the others. Brizette of the Dark Spirit Clan furrowed his brows and said in a low voice, "What will happen if the beasts also have level 10 experts? The 10th level is a natural moat, a huge barrier. Once a beast breaks through, its intelligence will increase greatly. It will become as difficult to deal with as the Yao gods of Howran," Tianqi shouted. The Divine Soul sect, which had escaped to the outer realms, had done some research in this area. They deduced that as long as the strange beasts could break the bloodline barrier and ascend to level 10, their life form would sublimate and produce indescribable miraculous effects. In the past, she only found a way to make the special beasts of Howran evolve into rank 10 Yao gods in Howran. Originally, she didn't know what method the exotic beasts from beyond the heavens should use to rush into the 10th level. Therefore, before she found a way, she didn't pay attention to those beasts or offer them an olive branch. As the high priest of the celestial demon race, Reed also had a worried frown on his face. But now, she has obtained the infant Titanosaurus from Genesis Supreme. She must have analyzed something from it. She was confident that she could make the exotic beasts in outer space undergo a fundamental transformation. Because of that, she won the loyalty of those exotic beasts. If it really happens... Brizette's eyes were full of worry. The situation of the universe will change because of this. Lebecca screamed. There were far more beasts in the universe than intelligent beings like the Dark Spirit race, the Banshees, and the Star race. Due to the fact that the exotic beasts had yet to develop intelligence and had yet to produce a level 10 expert, the exotic beasts scattered across the galaxies were usually ruled by intelligent tribes or enslaved. For example, the Heavenly Star Beast in the Star Race's territory and the Dark Gold Beast in the Dark Spirit Race's territory. The members of the Star Race and the experts of the Dark Spirit Race could tame the Heavenly Star Beasts and Dark Gold Beasts and make them serve them willingly. The reason for this was because the level 9 Starry Beast and Dark Gold Beast knew that they were no match for Baylor and Brisette. Moreover, the intelligence of these beasts was relatively low. They couldn't resist the high-level Star Clan and Dark Spirit Clan. However, what would happen if a 10th-tier beast god appeared in each of the heavenly star beasts and the dark gold beasts, and increased the spirituality of the entire race? Was it possible for the living beings in outer space to continue enslaving a large number of strange beasts and make them work for them? In the future, if more than 10 beast gods appeared, and they all believed in the demonic phoenix and were all loyal to the Goblin Temple, the demonic phoenix would probably be the most powerful being in the galaxy. When the magnates in the palace thought of this possibility, their hearts became heavier than the previous one. Since the demonic phoenix is so terrifying, can Yu Yuan really dissolve the demonic energy she left behind? Lebecca of the female demoness race looked up at the black-cloaked Reed. Reed also fell silent. Why don't we not do it in this hall? When Yu Yuan was about to stand above the bronze coffin, the ruins of End God King inside the stone statue still felt that it was not safe. He shouted softly, "The divine artifacts and ultimate treasures of the Shunhun sect will not repel each other. I suggest that you pull the bronze coffin into the dragon beheading platform. The dragon beheading platform can cut off the soul connection between the demonic phoenix and the demonic energy. No matter what you do, you only need to erase the demonic energy left behind inside the dragon beheading platform and dissolve the demonic soul inside. She will not know what happened." The ruins of End was very wary of the demonic phoenix, so he suddenly said this before Yu Yuan acted. The dragon beheading platform. Looking at the bronze coffin, Yu Yuan hesitated for a moment and then nodded. Whoosh! The dragon subduing platform was summoned out of his Shun K meridian. With a thought, the soul refining pool, which was holding the bronze coffin, sank into the depths of the huge pit. The dragon beheading platform, which gave off a hazy white light, replaced the soul refining pool and dragged the bronze coffin. Let's not let anyone else in. Yu Yuan glanced at the ruins of End and suddenly entered the world of the dragon beheading platform with his true body. The moment he flew in, the dragon beheading platform, which was holding the bronze coffin, suddenly produced a suction force. The bronze coffin also fell into the world of the dragon beheading platform after he opened the seal of the realm wall. Inside the dragon beheading platform, Yu Yuan was above the vast golden land and looked at the bronze coffin that had successfully entered. Just as it passed through the white realm wall, all the small characters suddenly turned into purple phoenixes. The tens of millions of purple phoenixes seemed to have sensed that something was wrong. They sensed great danger, and they actually began to combine in an instant. Before the huge coffin landed on the ground, a gigantic purple phoenix appeared, dancing gracefully in the air. An extremely beautiful purple phoenix filled with monstrous demonic energy seemed to live on the surface of the bronze coffin. It flew above the coffin lid, below the coffin, and at different places. Bang! 2 balls of dazzling purple light that were as translucent as gemstones were the demonic eyes of the purple phoenix. The dancing purple phoenix stopped the moment the bronze coffin landed. She was on the surface of the coffin lid, looking up coldly at Yu Yuan, who was floating in midair. Her deep purple, almost ink-black demonic eyes were as cold as the cold flames of the 9 hells. Whoosh! Whoosh whoosh whoosh! Deep purple demonic talismans floated out of her wings. Every demonic talisman took the form of a once famous ancient great demon in an instant. They were giant black snakes, roaring golden elephants, thunder eagles and thunder eagles that opened their mouths to spit out lightning, and ferocious giant apes that fought with maces on their shoulders. The many ancient demons that Yu Yuan had seen on the demon totem poles seemed to come alive. Apart from the dragon race, a total of 30 ancient demons of different forms charged towards Yu Yuan in midair. They all seemed to have the power of a demon king. The demonic energy that the demonic phoenix had left in the bronze coffin seemed to be fully activated in the dragon beheading platform. She had taken one of the 36 totem poles, and the dragons had taken 5 of them. If the powerful demons on the remaining 30 totem poles wanted to take over the inner world of the dragon beheading platform, they would be able to challenge the divine might. This scene is a bit familiar. Yu Yuan's face darkened slightly. He was not nervous when he saw the 30 ancient demons taking shape and charging towards him. He remembered that in the previous battle, Lin Zhuyun, who had replaced the Chaos Kuan to control the heavenly capital ancient demon formation, had also used the totem poles to create a similar formation. Awo! The purple-gold dragon egg not far away, the baby Titanspinosaurus, let out an angry roar. 30 ancient-looking greater demons soared into the sky. Due to the roars of the young greater demons, the gigantic shadows of the greater demons turned into a rain that filled the sky. When the purple demonic rain fell to the ground, the purple phoenix on the bronze coffin tried to gather again. In your dreams, Yu Yuan sneered softly. Looking at the purple phoenix that couldn't even be considered a part of the demonic phoenix, she said, this little bit of demonic energy won't be able to make a splash inside the dragon beheading platform. The purple raindrops that filled the sky turned into smoke as soon as he finished speaking. When the wind blew, they disappeared completely. So, the demonic energy you left was only attached to the soul talisman that Taisher left behind to awaken himself. In my world, in the dragon beheading platform, I don't even need to do anything. Bang! The purple phoenix above the bronze coffin that was formed from many tiny characters suddenly exploded. Countless soul talismans scattered on the surface of the bronze coffin, flashing and swimming like stars. The other one, the Titanspinosaurus that you hatched. Taisher's voice came from below the coffin. The baby beast's earth-shattering roar directly broke through the seal formed by the demonic phoenix's remaining power and reached the bottom of the bronze coffin, waking Taisher, who was frozen in time. The moment Taisher woke up, he erased all of the demonic phoenix's remaining power and took over the bronze coffin again. It was also because of this that he learned that Yu Yuan was secretly raising another young beast in the dragon beheading platform. Chapter 1590. Taisher, with his long black hair casually draped over his shoulders and his tall and straight figure, quietly appeared above the bronze coffin. He still looked incomparably calm, as if he didn't care about life and death at all. It was as if he had already seen through the so-called prosperity and decline of the world, and nothing could really make him afraid. The moment he appeared, Yuan could no longer sense the slightest trace of the demon phoenix's aura left behind. When he woke up and stepped out of the layer of time, he became the owner of the bronze coffin again. Yu Yuan even felt that his battle strength had increased compared to the last time they met, before everyone worked together to kill the Qilin. Looking at it, there were no signs of unhealed injuries at all, I see. Divine King Taisher rose into the air, his deep eyes staring at the purple-gold dragon egg, and said with a look of understanding, so, only the current you and a Titanspinosaurus cub can be called complete. What did you see? Yu Yuan asked curiously. I didn't see it, I felt it. Taisher smiled with a gratified face. Have you been to the Origin Blood continent? I'm very surprised. How did you avoid the Yang vein and come into contact with the Origin Blood deep underground? And in what way did the Origin Blood imprint the truth of life power Upanishad on your son's spirit? He, who had been sleeping in the layer of time, seemed to have seen everything that had happened as soon as he woke up. Yu Yuan was secretly shocked. What else do you know? You've met the great demon god Bertans, right? Taisher said with a smile. Yu Yuan nodded. I met him before coming to the Thousand Birds realm. The omniscient and omnipotent great demon god is truly admirable. Taisher sighed and said leisurely, the cub that the demon phoenix seized is far from being comparable to yours. However, the success of that cub should have given the demon phoenix more confidence and confidence. If I'm not wrong, after the demon phoenix obtained the cub, she should have stepped into outer space to integrate the beasts in the galaxy. In the end, she still has to go to the dark domain, the primordial blood continent, and confront the source of the Yang bloodline. Originally, if it weren't for you, the Titanspinosaurus, and the fact that you had already obtained the Origin Blood's approval, I would indeed be a little helpless. But now, we've made a brilliant move by accident. Tysher clapped and laughed. What the demonic phoenix really wants is to be like that Titanspinosaurus. She wants all the truths related to life power Upanishad. Unfortunately, because the Yang bloodline dominates the Origin blood continent and has long been established, she hasn't been able to get what she wants. That baby beast must have given her confidence. She'll risk everything to attack the dark domain again. She'll definitely descend on the primordial blood continent. For the time being, try to avoid her as much as possible. Don't show your face and let her fight to the death with the Yang lineage. I'd like to see what will happen to her after spending so much effort to enter the Origin blood continent and fighting the Yang lineage and the blood demons. Tysher suddenly laughed strangely. Even if she succeeds in breaking through Grek's seal and the Yang bloodline's seal, she won't receive any response from the Origin blood even if she tries her best to reach the underground of the Origin blood continent. That's because the Origin blood has already chosen to create you after it awakened. It doesn't have more energy or power to create the demonic phoenix. As one of the founders of the Shunhun sect, Tysher clearly knew the secrets of the Howran realm and the Origin blood continent. After he finished speaking, Yu Yuan came to a realization and explained how he had communicated with the Origin blood through Enziching and used the power of the dragon beheading platform to build a bridge with Enziching. His Yang spirit had transformed before he had even entered the dark domain. Amazing! A mysterious existence like the Origin blood isn't something we can understand or measure. I didn't expect that the Yang bloodline was part of the plot. You gave Enziching the wonders of life and asked her to go underground to cleanse herself, but you startled it instead. It made it search for you and the Chaos Kuan at the same time. Tysher's face glowed with a strange light as he stared at Yu Yuan. After waking up in this life, the scales of fate seemed to be tilting towards you. Are you okay now? Yu Yuan asked. I'm fine. I'm fine now. Tysher smiled and nodded. His gaze fell on the purple-gold dragon egg. He thought for a moment and said, "Since it was you who won the favor of the Origin blood, then our godly king of the ruins of End should also be able to return and become a great void." Yu Yuan was startled. What do you mean? In the battle back then, he lost his godly king body. You met him in Howran and in outer space, but you didn't see his real body. This is because he doesn't have his own body now. He can only attach himself to external objects like a heavenly demon. But back then, he left a backup plan for himself. It's just that he's missing a key factor. Now you are what he's missing. That so-called key factor. When Tysher said this, the giant bronze coffin on the ground flew out of the dragon-slaying platform. The existence of this Titanspinosaurus has to be kept a secret for the time being. Don't say much among us. I also want to see who our true allies are and who will hit us when we're down or even take advantage of us. Whoosh! He stepped on the giant bronze coffin and flew out of the dragon-slaying platform's inner world. The godly position of the ruins of End returned to the great void godly king because of his body. Yu Yuan touched his chin and muttered thoughtfully as he watched the giant bronze coffin disappear. He thought of Lulu. Before Lulu broke through to the demon god realm, he had catalyzed a drop of blood essence on the deserted island in the middle of the lake to create a pocket-sized green snake. It was equivalent to having an extra life. Back then, the great void godly king died when he returned to Howran, but he left a backup plan in outer space. This backup plan eventually became the current godly king of the ruins of End. However, it seemed that he had never seen his body. The ruins of End seemed to only be in the form of a pure soul, either attached to an evil stone statue, a stone pillar, or flowers and trees. If the ruins of End were to face opponents like Lindok and Tan Xiaotian, he should be at a disadvantage. Outside the Grand Palace, Jiang Miaojie, Hua Xian, Heavenly Demon Green Nightmare, Earth Demon White Ghoul, and other disciples of the Shunhun sect were waiting in torment. This was because they had gradually learned that the demonic phoenix had gathered many strange beasts in outer space. That demonic phoenix seems to want to launch a large-scale attack on the Deep Darkness Star Zone. Hua Xian frowned and discussed softly with a few Yang Soul and Carefree Realm cultivators beside her. According to the information we received, there has never been any power that can achieve a complete victory in the Deep Darkness Star Zone. Although the demonic phoenix is strong, it may not be able to gain an advantage in other people's territory. It's different this time. A tall youth with thin eyebrows who looked thin and weak spoke. He was dressed in a loose robe. When the wind blew, his entire body seemed to sway. The demonic phoenix has gathered many strange beasts from outer space. 7 of the rank 9 strange beasts have already arrived in Chi Sun Realm. There are even more rank 9 strange beasts heading towards Chi Sun Realm from various galaxies. The youth's cultivation was higher than Hua Xian's. He was at the middle stage of the Carefree Realm. He said with a serious expression, "I heard that many rank 7 and 8 strange beasts have broken through in a short period of time. If rank 9 strange beasts can break through as well, then—" "Impossible! How is this possible? How can strange beasts break through to rank 10? The new generation of the Shunhun sect shook their heads. Because such a thing had never happened before, everyone thought that he was spouting nonsense. It's possible. Godly King Tianqi came out of the Dark Palace. After his majestic body landed, he looked at the tightly shut door with a burning gaze. The demonic phoenix has the power to transform them. He heard Sinkhole's voice transmission, while Jiang Miaojie, Hua Xian, and the others were shocked. High Priest Reed, Heavenly Demon Yu Qian, Brizette, and Lebecca flew out of a nearby palace. Figures with terrifying auras landed in front of the tightly shut door with shocked expressions. Creak! The door that had been closed for a long time slowly opened from the inside. Taisher, who had not been seen in a long time, and the floating evil god statue stood on both sides of the door. As for Yu Yuan, she stood between the 2 god kings. Chapter 1591. Taisher. Lord Taisher. The experts waiting in front of the open doors of the hall were visibly moved when they saw Taisher appear. In their minds, Taisher was the backbone of the Shunhun sect, the one who made all kinds of strategies and policies. Taisher was also the one who was silently pushing the alliance of the races forward. As long as Taisher was alive, the general direction would not be wrong. Taisher's influence in the Shunhun sect and status in the hearts of the races was not something the god kings of Tianqi and Gue Su could compare to. "I'm fine." Yu Yuan woke me up from the bronze coffin. The handsome Taisher greeted everyone with a smile. With his unique calmness, he nodded to everyone who looked at him. Everyone could feel his current state. Everyone who met his gaze instantly calmed down, no longer fearing the future. It was as if as long as Taisher was in the Shunhun sect, as long as he was alive, everyone dared to face the uncertainty of the future. "Lebecca, thank you very much for coming." Taisher's refreshing eyes landed on the patriarch of the Banshee race. He bowed slightly and said, "The Banshee race will always be friends of the Shunhun sect. The realms under the jurisdiction of our sect will always welcome the Banshee race." "You're welcome. No matter what, I'm relieved that you've woken up." Lebecca, who was sitting on a cushion made of her hair, didn't find Yu Yuan pleasing to the eye in the hall. But when she faced Taisher, she seemed to be subdued by the other's charisma. A thread of imperceptible worship flashed deep in her green eyes. She actually felt a fanatical respect and worship for Taisher of the Shunhun sect. Boy, you have some skill. Even her attitude towards Yu Yuan had changed subtly. You actually managed to do something that I couldn't do. Let's just say that you're worthy of the dragon beheading platform. Very good, High Priest Reed said softly. Lord Taisher, the demon phoenix is summoning the beasts of outer space. Right now. Jiang Miaojie, who had bright eyes and white teeth, hurriedly reported what had happened while everyone was exchanging pleasantries. Many rank 9 beasts are rushing to Qi Sun realm. The White Heaven Tiger said that he doesn't want the humans of Howren to go to Qi Sun realm in the near future. From the looks of it, the demon phoenix will lead the great monsters of the Goblin Temple into a bloody battle. Taisher smiled and looked at you. Yu Yuan, whose heart was slightly shaken, maintained a calm expression on her face. He had naturally been shocked by Genesis Supreme's wondrous calculations. He had never imagined that Genesis Supreme, who was in the temporal plane, would be able to deduce the direction of events through his experiences in the dark star field, even predicting that the demonic phoenix would go crazy. What else is there? Tell me. Taisher smiled and gestured to everyone. Hua Xian, Jiang Miaojie, and the heavenly demon Green Nightmare all talked at once about how the Shura of Gojoseon and Sabonis were about to be bitten to death by Long Jie. Tan Xiaotian, Yu Yu, Xianli, and Yen Qiling were also trapped in the realm passage and had gone missing. Taisher learned about the recent events in Howren and outer space. After everyone spoke freely, Taisher learned everything. No, that's not right. Taisher, who had been listening patiently for a long time, suddenly sensed something and his expression changed. His expression changed, causing everyone to become nervous as well. They all looked over in confusion. As long as I'm not in the level under the bronze coffin, no matter where I am, there is a subtle connection between me and the earth of Howren. Taisher's expression slowly became serious. He, who had just stepped out of the time plane and left the dragon beheading platform in the thousand-bird realm, seemed to have caught the earth-shaking changes in Howren. There's a new deity position. It should have been stolen by Han Guiyuan. Taisher said loudly. What? The new deity position was stolen? And it was Han Guiyuan who did it? Is he crazy? Can a deity position be stolen? Lord Taisher, are you sure that a deity position was taken from the core of Howren and merged with himself to create a new deity position? No news has been spread. Everyone cried out in alarm, feeling confused and puzzled. Yu Yuan was also dumbfounded. He looked at Taisher with a puzzled gaze, waiting for an answer. The deaths of Yuan Hao, Ji Tianyu, and Qilin left 3 empty deity positions in Howren. Long Jie and Lu Lu each took one. There was another deity position that fell into the depths of the Earth's core before Zhong Chichen returned. This deity position was tacitly agreed by everyone, and it was also requested by Han Guiyuan. It was specially left empty for Zhong Chichen. No one would have thought that there would be another person who could intercept the deity position under Han Guiyuan's nose. Han Guiyuan himself was also in Howren. If he did not know, if he did not tacitly agree, it would definitely not have happened. Therefore, when Taisher confirmed that the origin of Howren that was originally reserved for Zhong Chichen and prepared for him to ascend to godhood had disappeared, he did not need to make any inferences to know that Han Guiyuan must have known. Han Guiyuan must have concealed this person's secrets and allowed him to secretly ascend to godhood. Who could it be? The same question appeared in everyone's minds. Everyone was deep in thought. For some reason, after the initial shock, no one doubted Taisher's judgment. Instead, they thought along his line of thought. Demonic Phoenix is not in Howren, White Heavenly Tiger is in Qi Sun realm, Desolate God is in charge of guarding Lu Lu, Tan Xiaotian and Yu Yu are deep in the realm passageway, and no one knows where they are. As for the Shunhun sect, everyone is in Thousand Bird Realm right now. Lin Dao of the Sword sect has not returned, and Ji Ningxuang has rushed into the Dark Realm. Brizette of the Dark Spirit race, after some foreshadowing, said, "Not long ago, after the meeting in Howren, almost all the gods went to outer space one after another. The only one who can completely control the situation is Han Guiyuan. If he wants to choose a new person for the deity position, this is the best time." Everyone thought about it and found that Brizette was right. No wonder Taisher said that someone had secretly stolen the deity position under Han Guiyuan's arrangement. For various reasons, the gods were not in Howren, and the people who stayed in Howren might be persuaded by Han Guiyuan after noticing the commotion. That guy was best at persuading others to listen to him. Whoosh! A figure flew over from the direction of the Thousand Birds Realm's Star River Ferry like lightning. Zhu Peining. Yu Yuan narrowed his eyes and found that it was Zhu Peining, who had broken through to Sun God. He was very surprised. He heard that after Zhu Peining created the Sun God, she was arranged to stay in the demonic abyss of calamity. Although the realm passage connecting the demonic abyss of calamity and Howren was blocked again, there was still a Star River crossing in the demonic abyss of calamity. It could still be connected to other crossings. But why was Zhu Peining in a hurry? Not long after, this important member of the Chamber of Commerce, who had gone from the barren Forgotten Grounds to the Blue Peak mountain range and the demonic abyss of calamity, landed with a sun god body. Qi Yunhong of the Thunder Tao sect escaped to the demonic abyss of calamity through the Star River crossing after being seriously injured and brought a message. Zhu Peining just stood still and threw out a bomb. Wei Zhuo of the Thunder Tao sect massacred the Thunder Tao sect in outer space with the power of a supreme nascent spirit. Qi Yunhong's master, Qiao Yuling, was killed by Wei Zhuo on the spot. All the Freedom Realm experts of the Thunder Tao sect either declared their allegiance to the Thunder Tao sect or were killed in body and soul. Zhu Peining glanced at Yu Yuan and said, "Xie Bin of the Lesser Thunder Tao sect, Sect Master Rong Sun, and Li Yu either had their true bodies in Howren or their yang gods in outer space. They all died." Wei Zhuo merged the Frost Thunder Seal into his lightning divine pool, which had transformed into a divine artifact. Wei Zhuo is now known as the Lightning Tyrant. The Thunder Tao sect replaced the Primal Yang sect in the Tianyuan continent and became a new high sect. Wei Zhuo had become a god and united the Lesser Thunder Tao sect and the Thunder Tao sect, making the Thunder Tao sect a high sect. Zhu Peining's news made everyone know that the person who had stolen the godhood was this genius of the Thunder Tao sect. "What is Han Guiyuan doing?" Tianqi said angrily. "He should know that Shura of Gojoseon is dead for sure. Ji Ningxuang has also gone to the Dark Realm. Tan Xiaotian has already taken a seat at the entrance of the Frigid Abyss. A new seat will be created in a short time, and this extra seat will be left for Zhong Chichen." Taisher sighed and said with admiration, "What a good plan." Chapter 1592. The primordial Yang sect fell into silence, but the Lightning sect took advantage of the situation to rise. The world was unpredictable. The Spirit Void sect, which had a deep foundation and numerous experts, wanted to become a high sect. Back then, Spiritual Master Spirit Void was known as the strongest person in the Tianyuan continent. Who would have thought that the Spirit Void sect, which was originally the leader of the 7 lower sects, would fall so drastically in just a few decades? After being surpassed by the Stellar Luna sect and the Lightning sect, the Spirit Void sect became even worse than the Ancient Baron sect. Because Li Sha controlled the Moonlight People and the Ancient Moon Demon in outer space, as well as a powerful figure like Tan Chunshan, everyone thought that the Stellar Luna sect had the best chance of becoming a high sect. Because Lindok made a sword move, That sword strike seemed to have completely annihilated the star Lunasect's destiny, cutting off their path of emergence. On the other hand, the lightning sect and Wei Zhua, who had not performed well for a long time, suddenly received Han Yuanyuan's favor at this special time. Under the old fox's manipulation, he took advantage of the time when the gods left Howren, and everyone thought that he left the deity position for Zhong Chichen to help Wei Zhua. Wei Zhua became a god and called himself the Thunder Tyrant. With lightning speed, he integrated the inner Thunder Firmament sect and the outer Thunder Slaughter sect. The lightning sect rose from a lower sect to a high sect overnight, becoming a dazzling force like the Red Devil School. Xie Bin, Li Yu, Rong Sun, Qiao Yuling, hearing this news, a bitter smile appeared on Yu Yuan's face as she sighed inwardly. When he was Hanch, he thought highly of Xie Bin and had specially refined many spirit pills for Xie Bin. Xie Bin was also very respectful to him. The friendship between the two of them extended to Yu Yuan's life, and it was he who helped Xie Bin reforge his son's spirit. As for Li Yu, it was because of his recommendation that he was favored by the Thunder Firmament sect and was able to cultivate there. Who would have thought that because of Wei Zhua's godhood, because Wei Zhua wanted to integrate those who cultivated the true essence of lightning, he swept these people away, causing their bodies in Howren and outer space to explode. The competition between cultivators was just this cruel and unpredictable. Yu Yuan, who was rather sad about Xie Bin and Li Yu's deaths, suddenly looked up and discovered that Grand Priest Reed, who was wearing a pitch-black cloak, and the two balls of burning purple devil souls around him didn't seem to be stirred at all. Brizette of the dark spirit race, Tianqi and Gui Su, who was in the double-faced stone statue, all had different degrees of emotions because of Zhu Painting's news. The one with the biggest reaction was actually the leader of the Banshees, Leibeka. After learning that lightning sect's Wei Zhua had become a god, the futon under Leibeka's but burst into flames. Among the clusters of green flames, there were slender spirit snakes dancing wildly. They seemed to want to fly out of the green flames and rush into Howren, burrow into Wei Zhua's mind, and bite his deity position to pieces. Damn it! Leibeka cursed. Yu Yuan stilled for a moment before reacting. In the sea of stars outside Howren, the Banshees were the most skilled and most reliant on soul power other than the Sky Devils. Most of the female monster clansmen had mastered soul attacks to the point of perfection. Leibeka was naturally one of the best of the best. It was said that whenever the Banshees in outer space fought fiercely with Howren, the main force fighting against the Banshees was usually Howren great cultivators who cultivated the power of lightning. Yes, most of them were cultivators of the lightning sect and the former minor thunder firmament sect. Wei Zhua had suddenly become a god, obtained a seat of the highest deity position, and united the Thunder Scale sect and the minor Thunder Firmament sect. When Howren invaded outer space again, the Banshees would be the most unlucky ones. Leibeka, who had a rank 10 bloodline, was bound to be suppressed if she encountered Wei Zhua after he became a god. It was understandable that she was jumping up and down in anger, cursing loudly. Don't get too worked up. Genesis Supreme was still as calm as ever. He first gave her a few words of advice before turning to Gui Su and Tianqi. I'm guessing that Wei Zhua's apotheosis was specifically used by that old fox Han Kuiyuan to suppress the ghost witch sect and earth demon. You and you two will feel uncomfortable after Wei Zhua becomes a god. Of course, that includes us. Taisher's deep eyes landed on High Priest Reed's pitch-black cloak after he finished speaking. He didn't say anything else and looked at Reed as if waiting for something. Brizette of the dark spirit race trembled slightly. He hesitated for a moment before saying, Lord Reed, I heard that there is a forbidden land in outer space where lightning flashes and thunder roars all year round. This place is extremely unfriendly to the heavenly devils, so it has been sealed since ancient times. No one knows its exact location. When he said this, Leibeka, Tianqi, Gui Su, and even the two heavenly devils, Yu Qian and Blue Nightmare, looked at him suspiciously. Those who knew the inside story knew that the ultimate great demon god Bertans had sealed off the sacred land of Thunder himself. They also knew that Bertans feared no one who walked the path of the Tao of Thunder and reached the ultimate level. Whether it was Howran, the ultimate god of thunder, or the peak foreign races who were covered in thunder and lightning from outer space, no one dared to challenge Bertans. They all died without exception. Weijue did go to that place. The old patriarch thought that it was time for a peerless expert of thunder to appear in our vast universe. Zhong Qichen wasn't the only one who could restrict the doors the god of the origin realm left behind. He was the one who allowed Weijue to ascend to God. Reed didn't hide anything. He saw that Taisher was suspicious, so he admitted it openly. You don't have to worry about Weijue. Once the threat of the god of the origin realm is dealt with, the old patriarch can kill him at any time if he feels it's no longer necessary. Since Genesis Supreme has awakened, I can rest easy. Farewell. Reed's demonic soul was wrapped in a pitch-black cloak, and he casually explained, Since Genesis Supreme has awakened, I can rest easy. The high priest of the heavenly demon race turned into a pitch-black cloud and gracefully flew into outer space. Everyone looked at him anxiously. They didn't know what to do when they saw him admit it openly. It was because he represented the great demon god Bertans, because he was the high priest of the sky demon race. After he mentioned the great demonic god Bertans, everyone fell silent. Even the most agitated Leibeka didn't dare to say anything. Alright. Since that person also thinks that a peerless expert of thunder is necessary, let's do it this way. Taisher was very calm and didn't think too much about this matter. Also, Han Guiyuan dared to arrange for Weijue to ascend to God because he was confident that a new divine throne would be formed soon. I want to return to the Banshee race to adjust. Leibeka yelled. Unlike Reed, she didn't choose to fly away from Thousand Bird Realm. Instead, she went to the Star River ferry hosted by the Merchant Guild and wanted to use it to reach the Banshee race's territory. Yuan, take care of it. Genesis Supreme frowned, a look of displeasure on his face as he raised a finger. The realm wall of Thousand Bird Realm suddenly became transparent. A waning moon that wasn't very bright stopped in the dark stars in the distance. After Li Sha's death, the Moonlight People and the ancient moon demons insisted that we give them an explanation. Yu Yuan's mind moved. He used the power of the dragon beheading platform and narrowed his eyes to look carefully. There were many Silver Star River warships on the waning moon and palaces made of similar materials to the meteor eyes. A few rank 9 warriors of the Moonlight Clan and the Moon Devils were standing on top of the crescent moon, looking coldly at the Thousand Birds realm. Because of Li Sha's death, they wanted to ask the Shunhun sect for an explanation. They seemed to want to vent their dissatisfaction. When they learned that I was seriously injured by the demon phoenix and didn't know whether I was dead or alive, they rode that waning moon and entered the Annihilation Star Field. Taisher's expression was cold. What he was dissatisfied with was that he had been in Thousand Bird Realm all this time, and Li Sha had died long ago. The Moonlight People had never appeared. He had just been seriously injured. Before Tianqi and Void End had returned, this waning moon seemed to have arrived. If it weren't for Tianqi and Gui Su, who had rushed over immediately, the Moonlit clan members wouldn't have been so calm. Yu Yuan was surprised. Then, he nodded and said, I'll take care of it. In the next moment, he also flew out of the Thousand Birds realm after Reed. Soon, he easily crossed the realm wall and arrived at the center of the universe. As soon as he came out, he saw numerous ancient starships that belonged to the heavenly devils, as well as demon gods like Simitz and a large number of heavenly devils, waiting for High Priest Reed. Reed, who was about to leave on a starship, and the heavenly demons looked at Yu Yuan in surprise. He's not here to denounce us, is he? Simmons said in surprise. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Nights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.